What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty. Join my Discord if you want to chat and share your thoughts, the link is in the description. 6 Fate Chapter 126. Uchiha Tomotaki. After a meal, Kyosuke sent Itachi back to the Uchiha clan. Well, the surrounding Uchiha people looked at him vigilantly, as if they were looking at the enemy, some even opened their eyes. I'm going. No wonder the relationship with the village is not good. How can the relationship be good if you treat the villagers as enemies? Thank you, Mr. Kyosuke, I'm home. As Itachi was talking, the door opened. Uchiha Tomotaki, who had a relationship with Kyosuke, opened the door and said, Mr. Asakawa? Thank you for sending Itachi back. Come in and sit down. Shinzuki originally wanted to refuse, but after thinking about it, he walked in. Then bother. Kneeling on the tatami, looking at Uchiha Tomotaki, his wife Uchiha Makoto served tea. Please use tea. Thank you. After taking a sip of hot tea, Shinzuki asked, is there anything wrong with Mr. Fuyu? Yeah, indeed. Uchiha Tomotaki looked at the boy in front of him, remembering that when he saw him a few years ago he was a reckless child who was just accepted as a disciple by Osamu. In a blink of an eye, this child became Konoha's hero, known as Yanjun, and his friend Bofung Mizumon and called Konoha's hero. For a while, he felt sighed. He said, Mr. Asakawa, since ancient times, a hero has been born as a boy. You have made great contributions on the battlefield of Water Country, and you have become Konoha's hero, and you may even become Hokage. Oh, as far as I know, Ms. Watergate also has this qualification, not just him, but also Ms. Oshimaru. Now, it is the three of them who have the qualifications to become Hokage in the village. Advertisement what? Danzo. This guy suffered from the loss of slow reaction and could not become Hokage for 3 generations. He will also become Hokage in his life. I know. Shinzuki squinted his eyes, put down his teacup and said, are you planning to bet on treasure? Yes. For the future of the Uchiha clan? Yes. Appreciate further details. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Uchiha Tomotaki took a deep breath without concealing it, and said, the ancestor Uchiha Madara and the first Naruto Senjuzuma joined forces to create Konoha, but with Uchiha Madara's defect, Senju and other ethnic groups are even more concerned about this. The matter is stubborn, the loss of trust in Uchiha and the estrangement are increasing day by day. At the beginning, Uchiha Madara's bad name in the ninja world can be said to be that children stop crying. Ninja Shura is not a false name, plus the reputation of the Uchiha clan and the Senju clan is not so good. With the founding of Konoha, the reputation of the Uchiha clan just got better, and it took a sharp turn because of Uchiha Madara's defection. The Senju and other ethnic groups who were originally afraid of Uchiha clan also began to faintly reject Uchiha, plus this. The conflict between the family's arrogant temper in the village is getting bigger and bigger. Mr. Asakawa, today I also opened the skylight to speak bright words, I hope you become Hokage. Oh, why isn't it Teacher Mizumon or Dashimaru teacher? Shinzuki asked with a frown and a smile. Mizumi and I are good friends, I know his character. If he becomes Hokage, he will definitely find a way to adjust the contradiction between the Uchiha clan and the village, but his current foundation is not stable. Even if he is in position, it is difficult to manage. The affairs of the village, coupled with the aftermath of the war, will not be able to deal with this matter for a long time. The village has no trust in our clan. Indeed, Ms. Watergate's roots are still relatively small, and when he is in position, he will become a shinobu who bears the name of Naruto for a long time. The power is still in the hands of the 3rd generation. Oshimaru-sama, you are his disciple, you should know what kind of person he is. He covets the riding wheel eyes of the Uchiha clan. Uchiha Tomotaki is very jealous of Oshimaru, who is cold like a snake. A little carelessness will become his prey, and negotiating with him is just looking for a tiger's skin. That's why you think of me. Whether it's military exploits, status or strength, I'm the best choice, but I'm not old enough. Shinzuki said with a smile while playing with the teacup. Advertisement. Uchiha Tomotaki nodded and said, yes, although you are a disciple of Lord Oshimaru, you will never be willing to become a puppet of the 3rd generation when you become Hokage. Shinzuki is young and vigorous, strong enough, has his own set of ideas, and will never be at the mercy of Sarutobi. He is the best choice. Indeed, if I become Hokage and he intervenes again, I will directly let him go home to farm. Kyosuke smiled and said, 3 generations are not good people, and there are some criticized Hokage consultants. Hey, those old men are not dead. You definitely want to get a share of the pie and give me home to farm. At the beginning, Sarutobi Hisaki succeeded to 3 generations of Naruto. In order to stabilize his position, the 3 people of the same period, Mido Menyon, Xuan Shaochin, and Shimura Danzo became Naruto consultants, and they had the power to compare with Naruto. In fact, these 3 people feeling guilty, can't help with a little bit of help, and will pull the hips. Uchiha Tomotaki solemnly said, if you want to become Naruto, we Uchiha will give full support. Uchiha has no possibility of becoming Naruto, at least, now he sees no hope, he can only hope for others. No, I refuse. I won't become Hokage, this position is not suitable for me. In fact, take care of your people first. Use your nostrils to see people every day. It's not a big deal. Wait for the kaleidoscope to write round eyes. Besides, Mr. Futaki, trust Mr. Mizumon, if he doesn't have an accident, he can free up his hands to solve the Uchiha clan's affairs in about 3 years. Of course, if nothing happens. Uchiha Fumitake smiled bitterly. I also know that Watergate is indeed promising, but if I personally push you to that position, it might be better for the Uchiha clan. No, according to my temperament, the Uchiha clan dared to mess up, I will solve it directly, Mr. Futaki, just like that, take care of your clan, you are a qualified clan chief, but those who are not dead will not accommodate you, they are eager for the Uchiha clan to rebel, and then quickly suppress it, but they are internally troubled. In peacetime, Uchiha is an internal trouble. Clenching his fists, Uchiha Tomitaki felt unwilling, but Kyosuke made a lot of sense. Even if Uchiha shed his blood for the village, he still couldn't win the trust of the village leaders. He can only hope that Watergate or Kyosuke will ascend the position of Hokage and reconcile the conflict between the family and the village. But I still have to thank Mr. Tomitaki for your trust. Kyosuke saluted slightly, even if he knew that Uchiha Tomitaki chose to support him for the sake of his family, he still thanked him, at least this one believes that he is not. It's nothing, I'm also for the family. Uchiha Tomitaki returned the gift. This is a serious person, abiding by etiquette, and a person who cares about his family. Tired for the family so far. Chapter 127, Suggest. For the Uchiha clan, the village is jealous. Senjuka established the Konoha police force, the main positions are held by the Uchiha tribe, and Uchiha is responsible for maintaining the security of the village and making his contribution to the village. This is not only to express trust in them, but also to observe Uchiha's every move. This also made Uchiha's reputation and power in Konoha reach its peak. However, punishing criminals is easy to be hated, and it is easy to be deceived by holding heavy powers. Originally, Uchiha's character is problematic. Coupled with various reasons in the village, dissatisfaction with the village is increasing, which is a rebellion in the future. Plant the bane. Mr. Fu Yu, give you a suggestion, speaking. The Konoha police force, if possible, absorb some outsiders. Uchiha alone is too easy to be hated by others. Kyosuke said, many people have been criticized for punishing criminals, plus Uchibo's character is easy to make heavy moves. It is inevitable to be sorrowful when seen by others. On the contrary, it will make people care. Your Uchiha's reputation is not very good. Uchiha Tomitaki was silent for a while. Kyosuke's words were about the point. The key is to open the writing wheel. In terms of personality, he will be prone to extremes, and he will be prone to impulsive actions. It is normal to make heavy moves. For this matter, he also feels a headache. He looked at the young man in front of him and said, the second generation of adults founded the Konoha police force. In fact, they have the meaning of monitoring Uchiha. The high level of the village is not willing to trust us. I walk on thin ice every day. Tucked between the village and the family, carefully handling the relationship between them, Uchiha Tomitaki has had no less headaches over the years. Yes, the second generation was born in the Senju clan, and is a feud with Uchiha. If the foreigner who knows Uchiha best in this world, then it must be him. Few people in the world can surpass him in his research on Shilunion. He was afraid of Madara Uchiha and the remains of Madara Uchiha. Although this guy is not a good person, at least he is not as guarded as the three generations of them. Why see? Uchiha mirror. Uchiha mirror. Uchiha Tomitaki looked at Kyosuke suspiciously. Just listen to him saying, Uchiha's rebellious mind should of course be treated specially, but he is willing to believe in Uchiha mirror and chooses to accept him as a disciple, which shows that the second generation does not want to put Uchiha to death, but treat you as a villager. One member is just a special treatment. It is a pity that Uchiha mirror died too early. The second generation plans to use Uchiha mirror as a bridge, let Uchiha mirror influence the Uchiha clan, inherit the will of fire, assimilate them, and finally become a member of Konoha. Advertisement. If Uchiha mirror hadn't died so early, the patriarch might not be you, but him. 3 generations will choose to believe in this brother and the Uchiha clan under his leadership. Unfortunately, he died too early. Kyosuke shook his head. Uchiha mirror died too early, the second generation died in a plot kill, otherwise, the Uchiha clan would not be like this now. The 3 generations and Danzo misinterpreted the meaning of the second generation, and guarded against Uchiha strictly, and all kinds of exclusion and percussion also became the root of Uchiha's rejection of the village. Uchiha Tomitaki was not reconciled, and Kyosuke's words made him suddenly clear, but he couldn't think of how to deal with this matter. The second generation's scruples about Uchiha are normal. They have studied the writing wheel and have prejudice against Uchiha, but he has never thought of destroying your family, Mr. Futaki, and start restraining the people on the basis of keeping the same. And, don't let them mess with me, otherwise, something will happen. Thank you Mr. Asakawa for your suggestion today. You will be a friend of our Uchiha clan, and I will not let the clan people offend you. Uchiha Tomitaki bowed his head. Today's conversation has benefited him a lot, although he did not get a good solution, but at least know the future direction. Chingia nodded and said, let's do it. Besides, let me give you another suggestion. Don't be too serious with your child. Itachi is a genius who is not weaker than Kakashi or even surpasses Kakashi in some aspects, but don't give it to him. He is under too much pressure, let it go. Such a small child has already begun to think about the meaning of life, which is not a good thing. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Uchiha Tomitaki smiled rare, and said, it's okay, Itachi is worthy of my son. Taking him to the battlefield seems to be the right choice. No, this is not correct. Contacting these prematurely will make him think about what he has. The child should grow up carefree. Our generation is forced by helplessness. You bring Itachi to the battlefield. His heart is really big, this kid is a genius, you can't be so messy, right? Your dad is really awesome, no wonder he was killed by filial piety in the future. Your suggestion, I will consider it. No, you didn't think about it at all. Forget it. Talk about it is not helpful, you will suffer in the future. He patted his butt, stood up, and said, forget it, that's it, the Uchiha clan is a bit low-key, don't compare with the Hyuga clan, there is no benefit. Shaking his head, Uchiha Tomotaki sent him out. Advertisement. Goodbye. Mr. Asakawa, you were kind to Uchiha. Okay. Kyosuke turned and left. As for this, it's up to them where Uchiha can go. If they stay the same, then don't worry about it. Later, on the night of the genocide, see if you can find the guy with the soil. If it is maintained, it will be fine, and it will be fine for this clan to continue to exist. In other words, did Uchiha Tomotaki make me Naruto? Hey, although this location is quite interesting, but I really don't have much interest. Under the gaze of a group of people, they walked out of the Uchiha clan, patted their stomachs, and prepared to go and enjoy the ramen. The three-color dumplings were not full. At this moment, an Anbu appeared in front of him and said respectfully, Master Kyosuke, Master Hokage is looking for you. Can I be called an adult? I'm a little embarrassed. What is the Lord Naruto looking for? Shinzuki asked. Being called an adult is mainly because his strength has reached that level. His strength and reputation have reached a certain level. Even if he does not have a position, he will be honored as an adult. This is also an affirmation of the power of Shinzuki. I don't know, please go there, Anbi said and left. After thinking about it, Kiyomizu decided to go to the Hokage building first. It's not because I went to Uchiha to be seen. Come and ask now? Although the three generations have a dark heart, they are still good people on the bright side. Thinking about this, head to the Hokage building to see what Sarutobi Hazaki was looking for. Chapter 128. 4 generations of Naruto. When I came to the Hokage building, I didn't go to the office, but was taken by Anbi to where he usually rested. Pushing the door and entering, he found that Mizumon was kneeling on one knee in front of Sarutobi Hizen. Sarutobi Hizen was sitting on her knees. Seeing his arrival, he smiled and said, Come in, Kyosuke. Oh. Kneeling on the same knee, it is estimated that something has been announced. Just listened to Sarutobi Hizen coughing, and said, This time I am here for one thing, who will succeed in the position of the 4th generation of Hokage. In order to quickly end the war and reduce the pressure on the country of fire and Konoha, Sarutobi Hitachi had to sign some quotation treaties with Sandyuki in the country of the earth. The reparations of the country of wind were reduced, and the war with the country of earth was ended. Can have an explanation to Konoha's ninja, and at the same time, due to the pressure of Konoha's senior management, he had to choose to resign. The candidates fell to Dashimaru, Mizumon, and Kyosuke. He first ruled out the reason for the character of Oshimaru. He knew this disciple too well and was not suitable for becoming Hokage, and both Mizumon and Kyosuke were excellent candidates. It's just that who should choose in the end makes him difficult. Regardless of strength and military exploits, both of them are heroes who ended the war. One is the Yellow Flash and the other is Yanjun. This shows that the ninja world affirms their strength. The position of Naruto is not a child's play. Those who can become Naruto need to have superb strength and outstanding leadership skills. Their shoulders bear the responsibility of protecting the entire village, representing peace and tranquility, and they must not be easily entrusted. I follow the village's decision, Watergate said softly. Shinzuki said, I am not interested in Hokage's position, and there is no point in approving documents in the office. Sarutobi. Do you think I just sit in the office drinking tea and stamps all day? Is not it? However, Kyosuke's unwillingness to become Hokage was beyond his expectation. He touched his beard and said, If this is the case, then the position of Hokage is left to you, and I hope you can shoulder this responsibility. Yes. Mizumon lowered his head, but he was not very happy in his heart, always feeling that Hokage's position was given to him by Kyosuke. Sarutobi Hizen looked at Kiyomizu and said, Since you don't want to be Hokage, I will give this to you as compensation. He got up and took out a striped robe with the word, Fire, from the cabinet on one side, and said, The robe of the word, Fire, also represents the honor of being no weaker than Hokage. It was very similar to the Hokage Imperial God robe of Watergate in the future, but the color was crimson like fire, and a big fire word was pasted on the back. Advertisement. To be honest, I don't want to. However, he took it and asked, Can you make it look better? I don't care about honor. Being handsome is a lifelong matter. Watergate. Sarutobi. Why is the child's way of thinking so strange? Coughed and said, You can take it and change it yourself, but the word fire must be retained. Oh, when I put it on my body, I found that the clothes were a little too big. At least I had to wait for him to grow 15 centimeters longer to fit. Now he is only 1.65 meters. His face was getting darker and darker, and he suspected that this was for Watergate. Well, in the next few days, Watergate must prepare well and become Hokage. Your task is very heavy. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Yes. Mizuno bowed her head. Sarutobi Hisaki confessed some more things, and went out of the Hokage building with Kyosuke. On the way, Mizumon asked, Kyosuke, why don't you want to be Hokage? Why do you want to be? Shinzuki asked rhetorically, I don't have the dream of becoming Hokage. You have to know that the village now is a mess. You will be busy in the future, Teacher Watergate. Watergate laughed bitterly. He also knew that the mess after the war was huge, but he was about to become the 4th generation of Hokage, so this was his responsibility. The water in the village is too deep. It's just a village. It's just like Gong's scheming. The position of Hokage is too troublesome. Please be careful, Teacher Watergate. I will do it. Would you like to come to my house for a meal? Juxina should be cooking at home. Okay, I just didn't have enough food, I'll go home and change my clothes. Well, you know my house, just knock on the door. It is good. Going home and changing his usual clothes, he hung up the robes that Sarutobi had put on him. After this thing was changed, he would wear it again, and he would never wear it if it was not a big scene. Too low. Leaving the house, I saw a foolish white hare who was sneaking over the wall and entering the hot spring. Advertisement, Master Jiraiya. After saying hello, Jiraiya turned his head and said when he saw Shinzuki, "What? It turns out that you are a kid, what are you doing with me?" "Nothing to say hello, by the way, I'm going to have a meal at Master Watergate's house, will you go?" "Not interested in." Jiraiya is also lacking in interest and doesn't want to go. Kyosuke whispered. "Mr. Watergate has succeeded Hokage, are you really not going?" "Is it so fast?" Jiraiya was taken aback and said, "How did you know?" He didn't even know about this. "Oh, I have also been nominated for this qualification, but I just withdrew voluntarily." "Good guy, you kid actually withdrew." Jiraiya also knows that Kyosuke's military exploits are indeed qualified to nominate the position of Hokage. The position of Naruto is very attractive to young people. I didn't expect this kid to not want it. Of course, it's meaningless. Kyosuke dismissed the position of Hokage. As long as his strength reached a certain level, no one would dare to deal with you. Your strength has reached that level. What does it matter if you are not a Hokage? What do you do to find something for yourself? This is really like a fairy and it's really meaningless. Walk around, let's go to Watergate's house. Patting Kyosuke's shoulder, Jiraiya laughed. He is in a good mood now. The disciple of his own teaching has become Hokage. What could be happier than this? The two came to the door of Watergate's house, knocked on the door, and Watergate came over to greet them. "Teacher Jiraiya. Why are you here?" Watergate asked suspiciously. "Of course it's you. You kid became Hokage and didn't tell me that if it wasn't for the kid Kyosuke, I don't know." Jiraiya also gave the gifts he bought on the road. Watergate took it and said with a smile, "Isn't this just getting the news? And if it weren't for Kyosuke's voluntarily withdrawing, whether I would take over Hokage is not certain. After all, Kyosuke is equal to himself in terms of strength, military exploits, and identity, and apart from his age and qualifications, he is not worse than himself. Even their looks are comparable. What a strong opponent." Chapter 129. You slumped and calculated me. After saying it many times, the position of Hokage is meaningless. "Follow the Watergate in," Shinzuki said. Jiraiya also asked, "Then what do you think is interesting?" "Of course it's a beautiful young lady," Shinzuki blurted out, and Jiraiya's eyes lighted up, "My soulmate." Snapped. The two slapped their hands to reach a consensus. Watergate. I am often at odds with you because I am not lustful enough. Mizumon, is Kyosuke here? Why did I hear Teacher Jiraiya's voice? The red hair tangled up in a ponytail. Ju Shinai poked her head out of the kitchen and saw Jiraiya, and said in surprise, "Teacher Jiraiya, why are you here?" Jiraiya dissatisfied and said, "Hey, Ju Shinai, I'm also a teacher of Watergate, why can't I come? How do you feel like you dislike me?" "It's not a feeling, that is, Teacher Jiraiya is one of the 4 bands of ninjas. Shinzuki, stay away from Teacher Jiraiya." "What the hell is the 4 forbidden ninjas?" Shinzuki Tukao. Master Jiraiya is a collection of the 3 ninja prohibitions, so it is the 4th prohibition. Jiraiya was covered with alcohol and color. This guy did not have the consciousness of being a ninja. None of the ninja prohibitions complied with. Of course, there were many ninjas who did not comply. "That's when you were on a mission, Kushina, you have a big prejudice against my teacher, hurry up, I'm hungry." Sitting down at the dinner table, in a posture of staying here. Kyosuke also sat next to him, and said deeply, "Sister Kushina, I hope your cooking skills will not let me down. I'm a gourmet who has eaten in Konoha restaurants and even Asma's mother's cooking skills, it's tasted too. It is rare for Kushina to show a serious expression, I understand, I will come up with my specialty." After that, when he got into the kitchen, there was a sound of chopping vegetables. Mizumon and Jiraiya's faces were not pretty. Kyosuke looked at them suspiciously, "What's the matter?" Jiraiya also whispered, "Well, Kushina is good at cooking, but I'm afraid to be serious." "Okay. Once you get serious, the taste will be hard to say?" Watergate swallowed. Hey, isn't it? How terrible is it that will scare the next 4 generations of Naruto and Saninji into this look? What did I say? What did I say? Jiraiya put a hand on his shoulder, and whispered softly, "Kyosuke, there's hell in front of you." Shinji glanced at him, sneered, and said loudly, "Sister Ju Shinai, Master Jiraiya said that he wants to eat the good dishes you take seriously." "Is that so? Okay, I get it." Advertisement Jushina's voice came from the kitchen. Jiraiya's face became stiff, and he grabbed Shinji's collar and shouted in a low voice, "You scumbag counts me." Kyosuke showed an ugly face. "Master Jiraiya, everyone comes together as a guest. I am the only one who enjoys it not very authentically. I like to share it the most." Jiraiya. Are young people's hearts so dirty now? "Good guy, I'll call you good guy. No, this sin can't just let the 2 of us suffer together, ×2. The 2 of them looked at the lively Watergate on the same side. Watergate. Wan Shinai, even if you show your true skills today, Pranam wants to taste it. Yes, Sister Ju Shinai, Ms. Watergate said that I miss your serious cuisine. The faces of Jiraiya and Kyosuke became more and more ugly in Mizumon's eyes, and they felt a strong malice. ×2. New Shinai. Hearing Mizumon preparing to speak, a tiger from Shinji also rushed forward and refused to let him speak. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Mr. Watergate, your heart is really dirty. You are actually preparing to upgrade the hell package. Watergate, I don't remember how I taught you this way. I don't respect the teacher at all. You two are deflated and calculate me. Watergate was extremely unwilling, but the two dirty-hearted guys kept him silent, and Jilai also picked up the fruit on the table and blocked his mouth. Until Ju Shinai comes out, you can let Watergate speak. Yes. Reach a consensus. Cheers, tilde, hollow down pointing triangle, tilde asterisk. What are you asking? Ju Shinai came over with the soup and found that his man was subdued by Jiraiya and Kyosuke, with an apple still in his mouth. It's no joke, Sister Ju Shinai, I beg you for today's lunch and dinner. Kyosuke gave a thumbs up to Kasina. Okay, leave it to me. Ju Shinai also responded with a thumbs up. Watergate. No, Ju Shinai, you look back, it's hell ahead. Advertisement. As the dishes came up one after another, the three people's faces became more and more ugly. It looked good, but it exuded a strange smell. Kyosuke even vaguely saw the mist of the hot soup forming a skull shape. Ah, this. Okay, Shinzuki has a good taste of my craft. Kushina gave Shinzuki some dishes. Haha. Respecting the old and loving the young is a virtue. Jiraiya is an adult. You are the oldest here. You can try Sister Ju Shinai's dishes. It is naturally impossible for Kyosuke to suffer alone. Haha, come, Pradanam, and taste the specialty of Ju Shinai. You can't eat it every day like today. Just kidding, the immortal will definitely make a pad of hard work. Watergate kept a smile on his face. Come on, Kyosuke, this is what Ju Shinai specially prepared for you. Let's try it. The three pushed each other and none of them moved the chopsticks first. Juxina squinted his eyes, murderous, and his red hair went without wind, just like tentacles. Appeared, blood red pepper, boom, slap on the table, you three. Yes. The three straightened their backs and put down their dishes. Are you dissatisfied with my dishes? No, the trio answered sonorously. Then eat. Yes. At the end of a meal at the speed of light, Ju Shinai looked at the clean dishes and said happily, Ah, I like the food I cooked so much. Chingjia, you are at home by yourself, so you can come and eat it often in the future, ah. No, I will never come again. Kyosuke, who was lying on the table spitting out a lump of soul, thought so. This meal almost didn't lose my life. The serious mode of cooking is really terrible. Why is it terrible to cook in earnest? This setting is too strange, right? So, Kyosuke, don't do this again in the future, just let Kushina cook well, Jilai said on his stomach. No, I won't come to eat anymore, Kyosuke said. Chapter 130. Danzo. Kyosuke left slowly, his tongue tingling, and the smell was hard to say. Came to the residence of Oshimaru with a complicated mood, saw that he was still doing the experiment, and said, Teacher Oshimaru, today Master Naruto called me over to talk about succession to Naruto. The successor is Watergate, right? Dashimaru said without looking up. Yes, I don't want it. Well, it suits your personality, Kyosuke-san. Dashimaru did not put down the experiment in his hands, and said, Mizumon is more suitable than you to become Hokage. Your personality will be strong in some aspects, and you won't let people reach out. On your plate, if you succeed Hokage, then those elders are probably a display. Look at what you said, how could it be a decoration? Such a good tool person, I am really sorry if I don't use it, but it has nothing to do with me now. Shinzuki shook his head and said. Dashimaru said, Watergate will soon be emptied. Those old guys will not give up the power in their hands. Power is an addictive poison. The old guys will not hand it out so easily. Watergate will be in for at least 2 years. I will definitely restrain my elbows everywhere. Danzo will not easily surrender the power in their hands, sitting in their position for a long time, they will not easily compromise, especially a young man. In their opinion, Watergate was just a disciple of Jiraiya. Although they had made great achievements in the war, they still felt a little tender when they wanted to fight with them. Teacher Oshimaru, you obviously have this qualification, aren't you angry? Oshimaru also has the qualifications to become Hokage, with Danzo's help behind. Forget it, with the pig teammate dancing, it's no wonder that there is no way to succeed. There is no need to be angry. Watergate will become the puppet of the 3 generations of power. He is too young and far less prestigious than the 3 generations and the elders. That group of elders chose you and Watergate to think so, but your character is really not suitable for them, puppet. Da Shi-wan had an old-fashioned vision and had already seen everything through. Chingjia nodded and said, That's right. I guess I will fight the 3rd generation after 3 days. The old man is very bad. If you don't talk about the 3rd generation, I will definitely beat the elders. The corner of Dashimaru's mouth twitched, but he knew that Shinzuki was telling the truth. After learning the fairy mode, his ability to fight for the 3 generations that began to decline may be a bit difficult, but it is not a problem to fight the elders. Well, if there is nothing to do, take Adzuki beans to complete some tasks. I don't have time to take care of you now. Dashimaru is very busy now, and has obtained a lot of good experimental materials on the battlefield, and other things. Advertisement boom boom boom. At this time, the door was knocked. Kyosuke went to open the door. It was a bandaged man with a scar on his chin. He was in his 50s and 60s. He was wearing a black robe. Next to him were 2 dark ninjas wearing masks, or a disciple of Oshimaru? It's you, Kyosuke Asakawa. The person here is Gen's leader, Naruto consultant, Shimura Danzo. After taking a deep look at Shinzuki, he asked, Where is Dashiwan? The teacher is doing experiments inside. Take me over. Shinzuki raised his eyebrows and stood still. Danzo frowned, and repeated, take me over. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Shinji still didn't speak. The two dark parts next to Danzo moved, but in the next second, their body froze and did not dare to move. Two flame spears hovered between their eyebrows. The temperature was extremely high, and they could pierce them with only one thought from the other party. Head. Don't know what politeness is. Kyosuke said with his arms folded. What is the reason for Mr. Danzo to come here? The teacher is very busy. Take me over. As soon as he finished speaking, another flame spear flew out, pointing directly at Danzang's bandaged right eye, and said, Danzang-sama, your eyes are a bit special. Also, you are so old, don't you know? Do you know what politeness is? Tuan Zhang narrowed one of his exposed eyes and said, you are fine, Dashiwan has taught me a good disciple. At this time, Dashimaru came out and said, isn't this Danzo? What brought you here, Kyosuke-kun? They're not malicious, it's okay. I just punish the elderly who are not polite. When they reach the age of retirement, they should raise fish and grow the land at home. Such a large group of ages still ran out of them. The bones of the elderly are very brittle. Be careful of breaking your leg. Chinjia removed the flame spear and sneered. Advertisement. Don't bother you, Dashiwan, I have something to look for you. After that, he walked into the laboratory with Dashiwan. Kyosuke watched the two people's backs for a moment of silence. Oshimaru would still follow the old road, but it has nothing to do with him. He has a firm foothold in Konoha. Even if he prevents Oshimaru from cooperating with Danzo, he will eventually do things that experiment with ninjas. Dashiwan's exploration of the truth will not stop. He is a lonely seeker. No one can walk with him on this road, but this road is too difficult to walk and requires a lot of information to support, and Danzo can just support him to speed up. Both of them are conceived in their own hearts, and they hit it off. Oshimaru will definitely defect in the future, but it doesn't have much impact on him. It would be unpleasant to survive his reputation in Konoha, but it doesn't have much to do with him. He didn't care about fame. He didn't even have the will to fire, let alone any reputation. If it doesn't work, he will go to Wuyan village and hug Terumi Mei's long legs. He yawned and left. On the way back home, he encountered a long-lost Hyuga Nika. His original gloomy expression was a little bit of joy. Seeing Kiyomizu, he said, I am going to find you. I will send someone to find you in the morning. I found out that you are not here. I will take a trip myself. The day after tomorrow is the 100-day banquet for the birth of my son. You must come. An invitation card was handed to Chinjia. Kyosuke took it and said, do you have a son? Yeah, Rika nodded and said, I was born when the war was about to end. Thank you for speaking of it. If it weren't for your battle in the mist, I might not have time to come back and take care of my son's 100 days. It's a feast. Oh, I will come. On the battlefield of Misty Hidden, Nikkei also took care of himself very much, and he wanted to see the 100 days banquet of Ningsei Hyuga in Konoha's 12 Shaoqiang. By the way, I'm only 12 years old, so I have to pay with the money. Think about all kinds of things in the future. No, I have to do some tasks, otherwise, I will have to be poor just with money. After bidding farewell to the day's slack, I returned home and slept all night, and took red beans to pick up a sea-level mission the next morning. Make money by swiping tasks. Chapter 131. After the 100 days banquet is the wedding. Because of the war, Kyosuke and their squad disbanded, and they all wanted to take up the task in a team. Not every time Kyosuke would be with Asma and Hong. Because of the war, Hongdu was just promoted to Jongnin and received some sea-level quests. However, no matter how small the mosquitoes are, they are meaty. Shinzuki will not pick it. It is easy to brush off the quests and come back at night. The next day, participate in the 100 days banquet of Ningsei Hyuga. The Hyuga clan is lively and lively. Although the Daily Disparity is a division of the family, it is also the head of the division, and the twin brother of the patriarch, so the pomp is naturally not small. Two brothers with the same appearance stood at the gate to greet the guests. Seeing Kyosuke's arrival, Nisaku smiled and said, come on, come with you. He said that, and smiled and put away the money from Shinjia. Oh, why is it so unhappy in my heart? Shinjia nodded, and led by the maid to the living room. Hey, a big family is good, there are still maids. I really envy. Pooh, he is not envious at all. Compared with Uchiha, the Hyuga clan is easier to get along with, but it's not easy to get along with. If Uchiha's arrogance is on the surface, then the Hyuga clan is arrogant in their bones. After the Senju family retired, the strongest families in Konoha were Uchiha and Hyuga. Both clans consider themselves the largest family of Konoha, but Hyuga is smarter. He just thinks so in his heart. Without talking about it, Uchiha is blinded by the glory of the clan, and his eyes are the same as myopia. Konoha hasn't waited to see Uchiha all day, and this group of guys are still like this. Isn't this hitting the gun? Hyuga is a little more subtle. As a long-standing family, they are the descendants of the Itsuki family along with Senju, Uchiha, Uzumaki, and Kagaya. This guy has been passed down to this day, and his etiquette is carved into his bones. Abiding by etiquette and being rigid and solemn, this is Kyosuke's first impression of this clan. Even the Nikkei who has a good relationship with him, not to mention his brother, the patriarch of the Hyuga clan, Hyuga Hazuzu. It is said that the future Naruto married Hinata, and he was so blinded by the Hyuga clan, it was really miserable to think about it. Ahem, Hyuga Nizu is now a staid person, and in the future, he will be an old man who spoils his grandson. Drinking tea, a lot of people were invited to the banquet, some of whom were acquainted with Kazuki, and some did not. Shinosuke came over and gave a gift and left. After the war, he entered the Anbi and was very busy. Having said that, the 3 generations now stuff Shinosuke into the Anbi. Advertisements still want to control the power. Anbi, as Hokage's direct troops, will only obey the orders of Hokage alone. Now Shinosuke is stuffed into the Anbi. It is obvious that Sarutobi Hazaki wants to continue to control Konoha. Old things are very bad. The banquet officially began. As a big family, I didn't have to choose the food to cook. Chingia was very full. The day Eren came to give a speech and took out his 3-month-old son. The current Hyuga Neji is wrapped in a swaddle, white and fat, very cute, with a pair of eye-catching eyes, looking at the guests curiously. Chingia glanced at it and didn't pay any more attention. He continued to deal with the dishes in front of him, not to mention that the rice was so fragrant, and he had to find a way to come and eat it often in the future. As a single person, it is basically impossible to cook by yourself. It is absolutely impossible to buy it by yourself, and it is absolutely impossible to buy it. After eating a meal, drinking tea for a while, and being sent to the door by the Nikkei, he left the Hyuga clan. Later, he was called by Kakashi to help. Watergate was nervous like a child, saying, "Shinzuki came this time mainly because I want to ask you to be the best man." Kyosuke. Best man? What best man? Is Kakashi getting married? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi, shouldn't it? Kakashi has a tendency to live with K in the future. How could he get married? Will you marry Lin? If this is to let the soil know, even if it will not blacken, it will blacken. Maybe it will open a kaleidoscope on the spot. Lin smiled and said, "It's not Kakashi, it's Teacher Watergate." Oh, Teacher Watergate, it suddenly dawned on me. Sigma, D, LLL, it's not right, haven't you already lived with Jushinai? He looked at Watergate and asked, "Teacher Watergate, aren't you already married?" "Oh, I don't have one." Mizumon said shyly, "I and Kushina are still boy and girl friends, and I plan to hold the wedding before Hokage's succession ceremony." Chingia. So you were living together illegally before? Good guy, I'll call you good guy. Advertisement Watergate is really good at playing. Jushin Na is already a housewife, they're not married yet? Actually not married yet, you said. Mr. Watergate, you and Jushinai were living together illegally before. No, it's not that serious, right? I don't remember Konoha has such a rule. Mizumon wiped his sweat awkwardly, uncomfortable when he met Kyosuke's eyes. So, why isn't this kind of best man Kakashi? Kakashi drooped his eyes, dead fish eyes without a hint of energy, like some unscrupulous silver-haired natural curls. He said, "There is no stipulation that there is only one best man, right? I have also been selected as the best man." Lin is the bridesmaid, right? Who is the other one? Kyosuke. It was originally from Ms. Makoto, but Ms. Makoto has been married for several years and even has children. Kushina really didn't have many friends in Konoha, just a few. As Kuki, it's really fortunate to have friends, but there are very few. Uchiha Tamataki's wife, Uchiha Makoto is one, but it's better to be an unmarried bridesmaid. So, are you going to let me pull Hong over to help? Shinzuki looked at them. Unmarried, about the same age as Lin, and connected with Jushin Na, only red. Hong and Jushinai's relationship is okay, because of Chingsuke's relationship, they also know each other, and the relationship is not bad. There is no problem in pulling over to be a bridesmaid. Yes, Kushina is preparing to get married, so the red side still needs you to invite. Watergate said with a smile. I see, nodded and asked, "Which day are you going to get married?" "Next Wednesday, that will be the day when I met Kushina for the first time." Watergate recalled with a face, "It's been so long, it's really nostalgic." "I'll really pick a day. Okay, I'm going to find Hong. I don't know if she has time. After all, she also has a task now. I beg you anyway. A piece of cake." Shaking his head, he left Watergate's house, ready to go to Hong's house to find her. Chapter 132. The wedding at Promenum day by day. The wedding was held as scheduled under the arrangement of Watergate and others. The news that Watergate is about to take over the 4th generation of Hokage is not a secret at all from the big family. I wanted to come over to cheat, but I didn't receive an invitation, and it's not easy to pass. Those who were invited over were all related to Watergate or Kushina. The people here are their relatives and friends. As for the other insignificant people, they don't have to go, so that some people who want to curry favor are put out of their minds. The host of the wedding was Jiraiya. This guy was standing there with his nose in tears, and Sarutobi Hizen, who was invited with him, was very disgusted with this apprentice. "It's not you getting married. In other words, your apprentices are all married. Why are you still unmarried? When Tsunade's boyfriend is gone, you don't know how to follow up to comfort you. A wounded heart needs comfort. After being with you for a long time, good things will be done. You stinky boy is obviously my disciple, and I haven't learned the least of my methods. It's embarrassing to spread it out." His head hurts when he thinks of this. None of the 3 disciples got married until now, so he is very anxious. Tsunade's boyfriend died in battle, so forget it. Dashimaru is more interested in snakes than women, so that's it. Jilai also. Forget it. Not to mention, it is better to have 2 sons. The eldest son is married, and the second son has found what he likes. Well, it is my son. He is quite satisfied with this. Then, the auspicious time has come, please, invites newcomers to enter the venue. Jilai couldn't bear his excitement, making the bridegroom the same as him. The ritual music played, the flowers were scattered, and the newlyweds walked out slowly amidst the gaze of the guests and the sound of blessings. Under the shining of the sun, Mizumon's blonde hair was gleaming, and his handsome face was full of happiness, and the black patterned Fuyu Hakama was worn on his body to make him stand upright. holding Ju Shinai in his hand. Dressed in white and innocent, red hair is hidden under the white corners. His face is painted with heavy makeup, beautiful, white and tender hands are holding her husband, and his eyes are full of gentle colors. Behind them, Kyosuke, Kakashi, Hong, and followed. Although Kyosuke does not know why there is a best man in the traditional wedding ceremony, but just leave it. All this is the will of the universe. Following Mizumon and Jushinai to Jiraiya's front, the four backed away. Jiraiya also began to read out the wedding greetings to bless the marriage, spreading a lot of eloquence, really worthy of the future great writer. The words are exquisite, the rhetoric is gorgeous, and the blessings are one after another. Pradhan, Ju Shinai, be happy, Jiraiya also said. Advertisement. Well, I will, teacher. We will be happy, teacher Jiraiya. The hands of the two were tightly clasped together. At this time, Lin and Hong each were holding a hip flask. One long handle and one short handle. Female moths are drawn on the long hip flask, and male moths are drawn on the short hip flask. Watergate picked up the short-handled jug and filled the long-handled jug with wine. Kushina picked up the long-handled jug representing the female moth and poured the wine into the 3 large, medium and small wine glasses. Lin and Hong held small wine glasses and toasted the two of them. Jushinai took a sip and handed it to the Watergate, who took a sip and then returned it to Jushinai for her to finish the drink. Juxina returned the glass to the two girls. They picked up the medium-sized wine glasses again and toasted again. The newlyweds drank 3 times again. Finally, there is a blackjack, which is also divided into 3 times. This is a long time. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. 3 to 3 wins 9. 9 times to make a cup means long and forever, the meaning of old age together. The bride and groom declare their congratulations. Watergate and Ju Shinai held hands and said in the same voice. On a good day today, we will hold a wedding ceremony in front of Konoha Hokage Rock. In the future, we will receive the gods, harmony and respect, abide by the principles of husband and wife, share joys and sorrows, manage a peaceful life, blaze a trail of prosperity for our children and grandchildren, and vow to remain unswerving for life. I hope that the gods will protect them for a long time. Exchange wedding rings. Shinji and Kakashi came, each holding a gift box in their hands, and inside the gift box was a wedding ring. Mizuno picked up the smaller one, picked up Jushinai's kaken, and carefully put the ring on Jushinai's ring finger. Jushinai picked up the other one and put it on the Watergate. At this time, Hong Yulin gave a branch of a small yangtong tree wrapped in white cotton paper, which was the 8th item of the wedding. Bongyu skewer, offering gifts to the gods, and praying for a happy life in the future. Li Cheng. Jilai also yelled with relief, full of relief. The guests stood up, raised their wine glasses, toasted to the couple, and wished them a happy future. Advertisement. After finishing their work, the 4 Chingyas sat in their seats, and Chingyas said, "It's troublesome to get married, I don't want to get married." Kakashi glanced at him and said, "You guy doesn't even have a girlfriend, and you don't know when you get married. Aren't you? How could Konoha's little yellow man become so famous that his hand speed for more than 20 years was not covered by his single life? I heard that Kakashi was a bit diligent in buying toilet paper recently. Humph. What will it look like when we get married in the future?" Hong looked over enviously. The girl always dreamed of her dream lover stepping on the colorful clouds to come and marry herself. When Hong gets married, it will be very interesting. Shingsuk laughed. Well, when Asma and Hong get married in the future, we must make things difficult for them. Oh, don't talk about me. Hong covered her face shyly, and Asma, who had come with Sarutobi Hizen, sat over and laughed stupidly. Kyosuke was scornful for a while, and if he didn't win it for so long, he knew that he was silly. Cub, Abba is very disappointed in you. At this time, Zilai also sat down. His eyes were red. It was obviously not you who got married. Hey, this is the place for young people. Don't want the fragile uncle. I haven't reached the age of an uncle. Remember, kid, men are teenagers until they die. Zilai also said. Oh, I have reached the age of the uncle, so can you. A teenager who is more than 30 years old, go next. Uncle me, but I am very upset with a precocious teenager like you. Oh, you stinky kid, fairy, I am happy today, so I won't bother you. Otherwise, even if you are a disciple of Dashawan, I will teach you a lesson today. Obviously he is an unmarried man in his 30s. Can you forget about not getting married, uncle? Asma, you stinky boy, don't think I'm the son of a 3-generation-old man. I dare not beat you. Crackling. The hapless Asma sat on the seat, obviously he was just shouting uncle. Is the psychology so fragile? Damn, I will never become such an adult in the future. I, Asma Sarutobi, want to be a reliable adult male. Chapter 133. Join Anbu. A few days after Pradhanam's wedding ended, his Hokage's succession ceremony arrived. On the Hokage building, Mizumon, wearing a Hokage royal robe, received the Hokage hat from the 3rd generation of Naruto Sarutobi. It also means that he will take over the burden and responsibility of Hokage's position and become the shadow of the village. On the scene, thunderous cheers rang out. Salute for the birth of the 4th generation of Hokage. The fireworks exploded in the sky, celebrating this moment. After marrying Juxina, Mizuno officially became the 4th generation of Hokage, became the CEO of Konoha, and embarked on the pinnacle of life. After watching the succession ceremony of Watergate, Kiyomizu helped Itsuki do a task for a few days, and he was about to find a place to eat. An Anbi ninja ran over and said, Master Kyosuke, Master Naruto is looking for you. 3 generations or 4 generations? Now there are 2 Hokage in the village. You laughed, it's naturally the current Master Naruto. Oh, I know. Entered the Hokage building, knocked on the door, and walked in. Mizumon sat in the same place before Sarutobi Hisaki, the table was clean, and there was no file in sight. As expected, he was the fastest ninja in the ninja world, and his work efficiency was so high. And beside him is Kakashi. Hokage-sama, are you looking for something to do with me? Forget it, call me what you used to call me, Kakashi, and you call me that, it always feels weird. Watergate waved his hand and said, Kyosuke, I came to you this time mainly because I have to ask you one thing. What's matter? I hope you and Kakashi join Anbu together. Oh, will you seize power from 3 generations as soon as you take office? But it's normal to think about it, Watergate doesn't want to be a puppet for the 3rd generation, he is not what he wants. It's just that he didn't want to do anything about joining Anbu. Seeing his resisting expression, Watergate smiled and said, you are special, and you don't have anything to do at ordinary times. Just stay in the Anbu, and leave the rest to Kakashi to take care of you. You are satisfied with the monthly salary package. Kakashi. Advertisement, in other words, I can eat and wait to die? Kyosuke's eyes lit up and thought it was feasible. Usually, you can get a lot of money by fishing, and fools can't do it. Hurry up and wait for death. The corner of Mizuman's mouth twitched, and he said, only when it comes to big things, I will find you to solve it. After all, with your strength, you can do a lot of things that ordinary Anbu can't do. M's Watergate, don't you want me to assassinate the shadows of other villages? No, it's not so exaggerated. Assassination shadows basically come and go, and it's useless to kill them now. Watergate shook his head and said, I just hope you can help me. The 3 generations could not surrender their power so easily, so they installed Kakashi and Kyosuke into the Anbu, and with their strength, they could quickly stabilize the unstable factors inside. Okay, yes. Shinzuki thought for a while and found it feasible. Fishing, what a good term. That's good. Watergate nodded and said, you and Kakashi will go to the Anbu base together, and I'll beg of you afterwards. Then we will retire. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Kyosuke and Kakashi left the Hokage office together and headed to the Anbu base. On the way, Shinjia asked, Kakashi, how is Lin? Still like that, she enjoys her life now. Lin worked very hard at Konoha Hospital and also learned a lot of medical ninjutsu. She worked overtime until late every day. Although she was tired, she liked it very much. Kakashi was silent for a moment and asked, Kyosuke, do you know the trace of dirt? Who knows? He is estimated to have become Uchiha's pony, but don't worry, he should return to Konoha in the past year or 2. On the night Naruto was born, Bring the Soil will definitely come back. This is the best time to get Kyuubi the fastest and take revenge on Konoha. Why are you so sure? Kakashi puzzled. 9 tails. 9-tailed? Tell you a secret, I also heard from others. When Renjuli is in production, the tail beast will have a very poor seal. The tail beast is especially easy to get rid of the seal. At this time, the soil will definitely come. Use the 9 tails. Come attack Konoha, but this will have to wait for Sister Kushina to have a child. Kakashi said angrily. Will you take advantage of this time period to do things? Uchiha Madara this be ************. Advertisement I can't forgive him for bringing the soil back to Konoha to do this kind of thing, absolutely not. So, we have to wait until that time, otherwise, the ninja world is so big that we can't find the soil to hide. Uchiha Madara should be dead. As for why he was so sure, I heard that Uchiha's wife Makoto Uchiha was pregnant with a 2nd child. Nijuja and Naruto are the reincarnations of Indra and Asura, the sons of the 6 immortals, and Uchiha Madara is also the reincarnation of Indra. Only when Uchiha Madara dies, the soul of Indra will be reincarnated. Generally speaking, when Indra is reincarnated, Ashura will follow along with him. I believe that the news of Jushinai's pregnancy will soon be available. The brothers Indra and Asura fell in love and killed each other for thousands of years. I don't know how many reincarnations, between Uchiha Madara and Senjutsu, Uchiha Sasuke and Naruto. As long as there is a woman, nothing will happen. Fall in love and kill each other and quickly move on to marriage. Maybe the child born will be able to directly awaken the eyes of reincarnation in the future. The key is to bring dirt. This guy doesn't know what the situation is now. Kakashi is worried that bringing dirt will go astray. Don't think about it, already embarked on it. Kyosuke said, don't think about it, I guess this guy has become Uchiha Madara's shape. With other gods, Madara Uchiha puts the soil in whatever pose he wants, and becomes his horse with all his heart. Hateful. Then what shall we do now? Wait until Ms. Watergate works hard to get Sister Jushinai pregnant, and then wait until the day of the baby. We should be able to wait until the soil is brought. Now I only have to stand by and wait for the rabbit, otherwise the world of ninjutsu is so big, the guy with the soil might have awakened the kaleidoscope to gain power, and the 5 great ninjutsu villages come and go as freely as his own home. Time and space ninjutsu is very troublesome, and basically want to catch him is impossible. While speaking, he looked at Kakashi, making Kakashi uncomfortable for a while. Kakashi, has your riding round eyes evolved? Really? Why don't I know? The riding wheel can evolve? Kakashi wondered. Did you write that the wheel eye evolved last time when you suddenly fainted? When I find time, I will find an expert to study it for you. Okay. Nodded and saw a gate towering in the gloomy forest. Anbu Base. Here it is, Chapter 134. Dark Part Anbu. Anbu is naturally a department hidden in the dark, specializing in doing some shameful things. Represents darkness. The two pushed the door in, but no one met on the road. According to a sign, they found the location of the equipment department. After waiting for a while, an Onbi ninja sent 2 sets of Onbi costumes. Just said, "This is your clothes. Thank you." After taking the clothes, they found a place to change into the gray dark suit, with the dark knife on their back. Kakashi put on his dog head mask. Kiyomizu glanced at the snake mask in his hand and then put it on his face. The mask didn't affect his vision at all. His snake mask opened a hole, and his breathing didn't affect him much, so he was thoughtful. "Let's go. Report to the Anbu." "Okay." Came to a room with Kakashi, opened the door, and a group of masked Onbi ninjas looked at them by chance. Kakashi said, "I'm Kakashi Hagi, I will join Onbi from today." "Asakawa Kyosuke. It turned out to be you guys, welcome." An Onbi ninja wearing a monkey mask came over and said softly. "This voice is Captain Shinosuke. Shouldn't you be in the Anbu directly under the 3rd generation?" Kyosuke heard Shinosuke's voice and asked curiously. Shinosuke was a little embarrassed, coughed, and said, "There are various reasons for this. Although Mizumon took over the 4th generation of Hokage, Sarutobi Hisaki did not completely hand over the Anbu commanded by Naruto to him, so Mizumon had to find someone to fill a part of the vacancy. The original Onbi formed 2 factions with the newly appointed Onbi members, which is also one of the ways Sarutobi Rishi used to restrict Watergate. Advertisement among them, a new help was inserted. I can only say that the old man is very bad. Regarding this matter, Watergate also began to counterattack. He couldn't let the 3rd generation continue to intervene in Anbu's affairs, but he could not counterattack the old predecessors on the face, and could only let Kakashi and Kyosuke join them. Kakashi helped him stabilize Anbu. As for Kyosuke, with his temper, anyone who dares to pick things up in front of him would probably have to fight. It is mainly used to warn the group not to jump up and down. Captain Shinosuke, this time we have 2 incredible members, Kakashi, who wrote Round Eyes, and the hero who ended the ninja war like the 4th generation. An Anbu ninja said. Kyosuke laughed and said, "It's nothing, and isn't the fight with Thunder Country yet? It's not completely over, right? The Thunder Country is still resisting, and has not signed a peace treaty with Konoha, and occasionally has a small friction with Konoha, but this is just a small friction, and their main force is still fighting against the country. After all, the 3 generations of Riking died in the hands of Yanyan village. As the 4th generation of Raikage, Ai's violent temper is not easy to let go. However, with the exception of the Thunder Country, the ninja world has moved towards peace, which can be regarded as the end of the 3rd Ninja War. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The Battle of Shinsubi Bridge and the Battle of 3 Tails were important factors in ending this war. Mizumon and Kyosuke also indicated to the shinobi world that even if Konoha's white teeth die after one of the 3 ninjas, Konoha is still not easy to provoke. Among them, Kyosuke is the walking Big Ivan with a role comparable to the Tail Beast. Many ninja villages have given their ninjas the basic information of Shinzuki, and said that if they encounter this person during the mission, they can directly abandon the mission without being punished by the village. You know, the ninja takes the completion of the task as the first element. Once the task is not completed, it is easy to be punished, but it can be fine if it encounters an individual. One is Pradanam, and the other is Chingia. When these 2 meet, it is a miracle that you can come back. One is the number 1 in the speed ninja world, and the other is not under the Tail Beast. Both Kyosuke and Kakashi have a good reputation. They originally wanted to educate the 2 young ninjas, but they turned off their minds. What a joke, neither of these 2 guys is a fuel-efficient lamp. Seeing some restless guys take the initiative to settle down, Shinosuke feels funny, but he also knows the power of Kyosuke and said, "Well, you guys will temporarily join my team." Advertisement, Ro. Yes, Kyosuke had no problem with Kakashi. Then, Shinosuke took Kakashi to Konoha to replace Konoha's Anbu, who was in charge of patrolling. Kyosuke did not go, and Mizuno said that he was okay, and he didn't know how. Go, he's just like a mascot, just sit in the Anbu, and don't need him to participate in tasks or other tasks. He is also happy to be free, and it's great to be able to fish and earn a salary. After bidding farewell to Kakashi, Kyosuke left Onbi and came to Oshimaru, only to find that the other person was not there. Maybe he went to another experimental base. All the money spent on Dashimaru's tasks over the years has been invested in scientific research. It is well known that doing scientific research is a very expensive thing. In addition, he has built experimental bases everywhere, and Dashimaru's life is actually very sloppy. Well, nothing happened lately, go to Longdadong to practice. Thinking of this, he went to the Watergate to report, and then left a snake for him to contact him, put on the daily necessities, and went to Longdi Cave. Longdadong the lively Shikijima-ji was very happy to see Kyosuke's arrival, and said with a smile, "Come here to learn immortality?" Lord White Snake said that you will not let you continue to practice if you don't come. Of course it's a joke. The White Snake Fairy doesn't care about this, since Shinzuki has mastered the fairy mode. How to study next is not her business. The Professor Chingia Shanshu is given to the 3 immortals under her seat, not herself. Isn't I here? Alright, I have learned how to reincarnate without rebirth. I want to learn the technique of white excitement. Ichikajima-ji said, "You need to find Tanjin-ji, not me. You also need to find Tien-Shinjin-ji for changing things. How long are you going to stay in Longdadong this time?" Should be waiting for the completion of the 2 celestial arts. After all, there is no war anymore, so I still have nothing to do. He asked for leave from Watergate. He would not participate in the missions of Anbu, and the missions in the village did not require himself, so he could practice peace of mind here. Thoroughly master the magic of Longdadong. If he can, he wants to learn more. Okay, You can go to Tanjin-ji, she doesn't have anything to do, and we don't have much to deal with in Longdi Cave. Go find her. Shikijima Jifei led Shinzuki in the air. Longdadong is intricate and complicated. If you are not careful, you will get lost. Stepping into the territory of a certain serpent will be very troublesome. Chapter 135. Learning of Shanshu. Tanjin-ji is still the same as before, wearing a witch costume, deserted, if she doesn't show the snake face. Although I know that Tanjin-ji and the others are snakes, every time I see them turn from beautiful women to snakes, it feels uncomfortable. Not everyone is Shushian's kind of sloppy heroes, although the setting of the human grandmother is quite attractive. Don't treat us with your human aesthetics, Tanjin-ji said coldly. You are here to learn fairy art, not here to find a mate. I am not interested in human males. This. Did you misunderstand something? I am not interested in snakes either. I have no sexual interest in you either, I just don't get used to your sudden changes, because it's weird. Tanjin-ji said. This is your business, human beings, you only need to learn fairy art. Listen well, the point of the Beiji technique is to first accumulate the Shanshu chakra in the abdomen and then. Tanjin-ji class has started. A lot of knowledge was instilled by her. Shinzuki had a memory this time. He took out his notebook and started to quickly write down the ninja sketch ciphertext, and then read it slowly. The main reason was that Tanjin-ji said too fast, and it was too late to write, so he could only use more. The ciphertext is written faster and better, but it may be a bit troublesome to unlock it later. Ababa. Baiji's technique may be more troublesome than inorganic reincarnation. The knowledge in it makes Shinzuki feel at a loss and has a headache. After all, this requires the use of Shanshu chakra to construct beads that can emit sound and strong light. But Tanjin-ji is not the kind of person who will ignore it after teaching it once. No, it's a snake, she will demonstrate. She saw her hands knotted, and the slender body of the noodles suddenly swelled, and she uttered a low voice, Shenfa YGG. Opening his mouth, a flying dragon made of white liquid rushed out, holding a Dragon Ball-like thing on the dragon's claws. After flying for a certain distance, the flying dragon formed a circle around the Dragon Ball in the air, and finally merged into the dark Dragon Ball. The next second, the beads exploded. Buzzing. Like explosive bombs, accompanied by strong light and sound, the surrounding air began to vibrate constantly, making a harsh humming, and the cave where they were located began to vibrate constantly, like an earthquake. Eyes. My eyes? Shinjia was rolling back and forth on the ground, his eyes were pitch black, and he just accidentally glanced at the strong light emitted by the white excitement technique. Unexpectedly, his vision was affected, and he went blind. By advertisement, fortunately, the most terrifying sound wave of the Beiji technique is of no use to him. The elemental body, without bones, cannot be affected by the sound wave. You must know that the sound of the Beiji technique is even the same as that of Itachi and The pillars are unable to maintain the powerful magic of the state of Suzuo Nengu. Tanjin-ji walked forward silently, grabbed Kyosuke's hand, and pressed one hand on his eyes. Immediately, Kyosuke felt a cold feeling. Tanjin-ji took his hand away, and he opened his eyes and recovered sight. Now you know how terrible this technique is? Tanjin-ji's deserted face was filled with schadenfreude. I know. Shinzuki had a lingering fear. If it weren't for Tanjin-ji's medical ninjutsu, I'm afraid he would have to find a way to change his eyes. Then you don't practice yet? Yes. Compared with Ichikushima Haim, Tatsuki is much more serious. She did not study with him like Ichikushima Haim, but instead gave serious guidance in business affairs. During this period of time, plus the previous time Shinjia was blinded 3 times. There were 2 remaining. One was when Tatsuji forgot to use the cornea when he was released, and was blind, and the second time when Ichikujima came out to attack him suddenly, scared him to open the cornea and went blind again. However, he also learned the technique of Baiji, but the power is far inferior to that of Tanjin-ji. Next, it was Tien Shin Shenji's bartering change. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. That is Tien Shin Shenji's unique ability, not everyone can learn. The illusion of changing things can change one thing into another, and it is difficult to find. This is Tien Shin Shenji specially used to confuse people who come to Longdadong to practice. As long as she eats the food she has changed, her opponent's body and chakra will be devoured by her. Illusion. I don't know if I can learn it. It is still the splendid Longdadong temple, which is in stark contrast with the dark temple of the White Snake Immortal. I know it is an illusion, but I can't find any fault, and I can't find a breakthrough. It can be said that Tien Shin Shenji the illusion is terrible. She sat on a soft couch and smiled and said, "Would you like something to eat?" Kyosuke looked over. There was a lot of okay on the table. He actually saw a happy ramen. It should have been brought back by Shikishima before, not to mention, it was steaming and full of color and fragrance. Even if the hand beater came over, it would not be able to distinguish the true from the false. He said silently, "Master Tienshin Shenji, you don't think I will eat these things, do you? And, I have learned the fairy mode, you can't eat my body and chakra." Tienshin Shenji covered her mouth and smiled. "Indeed, I can't eat you, so do you want to eat something?" "No, maybe it's something weird. Advertisement, boring." Seeing Shinjia killed him, Tienshin Shenji lost interest, and with a wave of her hand, the food in front of Shinjia suddenly turned into a variety of snakes, insects, rats and ants and rotting animal carcasses. Suddenly, a stinky smell came on her face. Let Shinzuki step back quickly, frowning. "You actually want me to eat these things? It's really feminine. This woman is a beautiful snake." "Wrong." Tienshin Shenji shook her head and said, "Look carefully again." "What?" Shinjia looked at it again, and the rotting animal carcasses, mice and insects on the table turned into a pile of rocks. Cold, hard stone. He picked up a stone and knocked it on another, making a crisp sound. Stone? Is it really a stone? Tien Shin Shenji laughed again, and Shinzuki watched suspiciously as the stone in her hand turned into a small snake, opened her mouth to him, bit on his arm, but was twisted back and forth hot by the flame. It's not a snake either. The snake turned into a kunai again. Shinji had tried it and easily penetrated his arm. What is this? The kunai in his hand turned into a stone in the end. Are you here to play with a doll? Shinzuki was speechless, looking at Tien Shin Shenji. Tien Shin Shenji slowly got up. The glorious temple turned into a dark and damp cave, she said softly. This is the ability to change things, and it is also the most difficult illusion-type fairy technique to learn. Do you have this ability to learn? Who knows? Always try. Then try it. Chapter 136. Barter Changes. Bartering is to change one kind of thing into another, whether it is visual, auditory, smell, or touch without any flaws. It's simple, but it's actually harder to operate. Illusion usually uses chakras to interfere with the opponent's five senses, disturb the enemy's chakras, make them fall into hallucinations, and affect people's judgments. The most basic thing is to make people have some small hallucinations, and a little bit smarter directly makes people fall into the spiritual world. But bartering changes do not directly affect the target's body, but the surrounding things. Use Shanshu chakra to change the surrounding environment and turn it into a state that is exactly the same as the real thing, without any difference, just like the dragon cavern created by Tien Shin Shenji. Kyosuke could not see any flaws if it hadn't grown in the first place. Shinyen, I am afraid that he has already settled in the belly of Tien Shin Shenji, ready to cross again. Even though there are not many theories about bartering, there are still many things Shinji doesn't understand. You know everything you know, and you can't do anything you don't. You need to understand it yourself, Tien Shin Shenji said. The theory is understood. How to operate. Use Shanshu chakra to simulate a shell with a similar appearance. All you need to do is to continuously optimize this shell until it is no different from the real thing, Tien Shin Shenji said slowly. Bartering is actually using the fairy chakra to simulate the appearance of other objects. The fake and the real make it impossible to distinguish the authenticity. However, the simulation requires a lot of time and experience, and the degree of trouble is far more troublesome than inorganic reincarnation and wide excitement. Shinki Tienshin picked up a stone and threw it to Kiyomizu and said, according to the method I taught you, simulate this stone as your human shuriken. Oh. Shinzuki closed his eyes and entered the fairy mode, and began to cover the Shanshu chakra on the stone, constantly imagining the sword in his hand in his mind, and controlled his own Shanshu chakra to form the shape of a shuriken on the stone. The stone began to appear like a shuriken. At this moment, Tien Shin Shenji came behind him and slapped him on the head. It hurts. After being photographed, the stone that had already appeared in appearance suddenly changed back to its original shape. He turned to look at Shinki Tienshin and asked, what are you doing? It's almost a success. Success? No, you are too susceptible to foreign objects. This is Longdi Cave. If you are fighting outside, you don't have time to build barter changes. This is telling the truth. With the current speed of Xinjia, bartering is useless at all. Isn't this unfamiliar? I'll do it later. Tien Shin Shenji sneered without answering. Advertisement. Everything is hard at the beginning, then hard in the middle, and harder at the end. Your speed is too slow. I will give you 1 day to turn a stone into a shuriken in 1 second. After that, our days will grow. This is just the first step. Obviously, the course of bartering will be very long. Isn't it? There is nothing wrong. You cannot learn. Tien Shin Shenji said, my teaching method is like this, waiting for you, it will be hell. The corner of Shinji's mouth twitched, so he had to speed up the progress. Shadow clone technique. In the fairy mode, the shadow clone cannot be separated too much. This will split a large number of fairy chakras, and cannot maintain the fairy mode, or the body remains in the fairy mode, but the shadow clone is in a normal state. Now Shinzuki can only distinguish 4 avatars. Everyone, speed up, otherwise, you won't be able to learn. Oh. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Shinzuki and the shadow clone raised their hands together and began to practice lively. Shenji Tienshin looked at the busy figure and snorted, is it a good way to use the clone to speed up the training? It is indeed a good way. I will come to check it at this time tomorrow. It must be exactly the same as the shuriken. Don't fool me. With that, her body disappeared into the Longdi cave. Kyosuke twitched the corner of his mouth, and a shadow avatar spit out. This BBA is not as good as Tanjin-ji. That's it. I have a bad temper. If it weren't for her unique skill, I would like to go to Shikishima Heim. Yeah, Shikijima Heim is very good. It can be flat. Alas, if she has white hair and red pupils, it will be fine, so that I can poke XP. Poke our XP too. Everyone is Xinjia, Shongguo people. Ha. Everyone strive to complete the task. Then you can play AR directly in the future, and make your own scenes you want. Yes, he didn't learn bartering to fight. He has always been straightforward, engaging in illusions. How could it be possible? It's mainly because of the ability to reproduce the change of barter, and can make a lot of good things, which is very interesting. Advertisement for this goal, Kyosuke added his own shadow clone to exert force. During the period, Ichikishima Heim came to see how he was practicing, but was sent away directly by a shadow clone. Seeing such serious Xinjia, she didn't feel embarrassed to interrupt. At the end of the day, all the shadow clones disappeared, experience and fatigue accumulated, and Xinjia collapsed to the ground and fell asleep. Get up the next morning, wash and eat briefly, and start practicing. When the time came, Tian Shin Shenji arrived on time and looked at Qingjie and said, "Let me see the results of your practice." "It is good." Picking up a stone, Shanshu Chakra immediately attached it, and within a second of effort, the stone was no different from a real shuriken. There is no difference in size or corners. Tian Shin Shenji stretched out her hand, frowned, and said, "You have not simulated the heat, the coldness of steel has not been simulated, and there are also many flaws." Picking out Kiyasuke's question, Tian Shin Shinheim said, "It's okay, go on until I'm satisfied." Oh. The shadow clone was separated again and began to practice. "If you are hungry, you will eat Binglang pills. Not to mention, the underground water in Longdi Cave tasted good to drink." He also saw cave creatures in it, proving that the water quality here was really good. After that, Tian Shin Shenji's requirements became higher and higher. Shinzuki was asked not only to simulate the appearance, but also to simulate the smell, temperature, weight, and touch to be exactly the same, almost not driving him and the shadow clone mad. 2 months later, Kiyomizu looked at the Yilei ramen in front of him and drooled. The brown noodle soup was floating with oil flowers, and the noodles shone with a faint luster. The roots are distinct, and the side dishes are also pleasing to the eye. People's appetite is greatly increased. Tian Shin Shenji looked at it for a while and said, "Yes, you passed." Kyosuke let out a long breath and finally, passed. Finally. A pass, Chapter 137, Abuse of Power. Hearing Tian Shin Shenji finish passing, Kiyasuke's heart was relieved. Just as he was about to relax, Tian Shin Shenji said, "Okay, it is very troublesome to build food, but that's it. Then there will be you trouble. Yes, like living creatures. The living things. How to do it?" Kyosuke looked at it suspiciously, and Tian Shin Shinki said, "You haven't reached that realm. When the illusion you construct can cover a radius of 1 kilometer, you can learn it." "Good guy, a radius of 1 kilometer, how much Shanshu chakra does it cost?" Although his chakra has been growing, it has not been able to cover a radius of 1 kilometer. It is impossible to do it every year. This is still under the condition of continuous cultivation. "So, let's talk about this later," Tian Shin Shenji said. "You have learned the specific points. After that, you can practice hard by yourself. The immortality of Longadong will go to the end. In the future, you will cultivate and create by yourself. The fairy mode can greatly increase your strength. Ninjutsu will be even more powerful, and you can create fairy skills that belong only to you." "I know." As Tian Shin Shenji said, in the fairy mode, his statistics in all aspects have more than doubled, and his flame temperature has also risen sharply. It is no longer the same as before, when it reaches a critical point and will stop. Normally, the temperature of his own flame is between 500 and 800 degrees. Under the blessing of the fairy mode, the temperature rises exponentially. There is no actual measurement, but it exceeds 8,000 degrees. It can be said that in this state, his destructive power is greater and stronger. The fairy mode is really strong enough. I have basically learned a general idea of the fairy art in Longadong, and I have not yet mastered it, especially the bartering. This fairy art needs constant cultivation and polishing. Only in this way can a perfect illusion be constructed, and people cannot find flaws at all. Qualified. The pass mentioned by Shinki Tianshin is only a pass by Kiyasuke's simulation of a single thing. He has learned the 3 introductory geniuses that Longadong gave him. If he wants more powerful ninjutsu in the future, he can only create it by himself, which will take time. And it was time for him to return to Konoha. After all, he had been away for almost 3 months. Konoha Naruto office Watergate, who was working, saw a big snake crawling in from the window, and was taken aback. Then the big snake opened his mouth and stretched out a hand, and then Kyosuke crawled out. Tukao said, "Damn it, Longadong's transmission method is really peculiar, every time. Advertisement: the snake swallowed itself when it entered, and when it came back, think about my body. Hey, washing clothes is very troublesome." Watergate looked at him and smiled and said, "Shinzuki, after practicing for so long, he must have gained a very powerful strength, right? It's okay, I have thoroughly mastered the fairy mode of Longadong." Clenching his fists, Kyosuke was extremely confident. Watergate's eyes lit up. He knew how strong the immortal mode was, the immortal technique of Longdi Cave. You must have suffered a lot in Longdi Cave, right? Thinking back to Miao Mushin's cultivation, Watergate still has lingering fears, not because of how difficult the fairy model is to learn, but mainly because of the insect delicacies made by the fairy Jima, who did not eat well and did not sleep well in those days. "It's okay," Shinzuki said. "Cultivation must be very hard, but for dinner, I took a lot of food when I left, and when the food was not enough, I went out of Longdi Cave and got some game back. The food is still good. Why didn't I think of it back then?" Mizumon felt that his smart brain must have been showy back then, and he forgot to eat it in Konoha. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Compared with Shinzuki, it is a heaven and an underground. By the way, Ms. Mizumon, I have been walking for so long, has anything major happened to Konoha? I don't know what will happen after walking for so long. A big deal? Watergate was silent for a while and said, "Does it count as if Ju Shinai is pregnant?" "Ah, congratulations. I sincerely send my blessings. I didn't expect that the time was so fast. The prince would be born soon." "Thank you," Watergate said sternly at this time. "Kaisuke, I have one thing to ask you." Seeing his solemn look, Kyosuke also got serious and said, "Come on, what's the task? Is it to assassinate the 4th generation of Water Shadow? No problem. Or is it to kill the 4th generation of Raikage? If you want to kill, it's totally okay to kill the 8-tailed man Julie? Etc., etc. Watergate hurriedly called to a halt. I didn't let you do such a dangerous thing. Doing this will provoke a war, and you need to apologize to the whole village. The task I gave you is not so dangerous. Are you confident because of learning the fairy model? What, it's not exciting at all. Advertisement, it's just to trouble you to protect Ju Shinai. Although the child is only 1 month old, he still needs protection. You have nothing to do anyway, so I trouble you to protect it. No way, I haven't secret mission. Hearing this, Watergate's face went black, and within a few days of joining Anbu, he ran into Longi Cave to practice, completely not fulfilling the responsibility of Anbu members. Fortunately, there is Kakashi. This is the secret mission assigned to you. Isn't there Kakashi? He has other tasks, that's it. In the original book, Watergate asked Kakashi to protect Ju Shinai to relax Kakashi who killed Lin by mistake, hoping that he would not be swallowed by his inner self-blame and darkness. Witnessing the growth of life greatly eased Kakashi's mood at that time, and the whole person got along a little better, but afterwards, with the deaths of Pranam and Ju Shinai, he went into darkness again. But now Kakashi is quite good, only when it is cold when doing tasks, other times, especially when getting along with Kai, has begun to develop towards the aspect of sand sculpture. Therefore, the task of protecting Kushina was handed over to the idler Kyosuke. After all, wars cannot be fought now, and where to place mobile nuclear warheads like Kyosuke is a problem. Fortunately, his character is a bit salty, so give him a light task and he can keep fishing. Okay, I took it. Do I have to protect it in the dark? Do whatever you want, as long as you protect Ju Shinai well. Okay, I see, I took this task. Hearing that Kyosuke was willing to take over this task, Watergate laughed. By the way, Teacher Watergate, are you abusing your power and occupying important combat resources in the village? Watergate smiled slightly. What are you talking about? 9 tails are sealed inside Kushina, who needs the protection of the secret part. How can it be regarded as an abuse of power? Well, you deserve to be the wife of you. Chapter 138 haha. After leaving the Hokage building, I went to visit Dashimaru, but only found red beans. Hongdu said that Dashawan was going out with a man in black, and she didn't know where she was going. It is estimated that I went out with Danzing to do experiments. I heard that children around the village have started to disappear. But he can't control this matter. After returning home to rest for a whole night, I got up until 3 poles in the morning, washed well, dressed neatly, and went to the Yilei Ramen to deal with it casually, before slowly heading to the home of Watergate. Kyosuke knocked on the door and found that it was Lin who opened the door. Ju Shinai was at home to raise her baby with peace of mind. After the baby was pregnant, she was not as careless as before, and she was cautious, and could not see that this was the terrible blood-red pepper. So Watergate asked Lin to take care of Juxina. After all, he is Hokage, and he usually works a lot, so he can't take care of his wife with peace of mind as before. Therefore, as a medical ninja, Lin is very suitable to accompany and take care of Juxina. And Shinjia is to protect personnel. M's Watergate will really find someone, he muttered and walked in. Seeing Ju Shinai sitting on the sofa to pass the time reading novels, he said, "Hey, it's been a long time, Sister Ju Shinai." Kushina raised his head and saw Kyosuke laughed. "Isn't this Kyosuke? It's been a long time since I heard Watergate say that you have gone to practice. It seems that your strength has increased a lot." "Of course, Mr. Watergate asked me to protect you, and let Lin take care of you. I really care about your wife." Ju Shinai smiled and said, "Watergate is really true. It is really overkill to protect me with your strength. Although I am pregnant with a child, I am not as weak as that. She is also a member of the Maelstrom family. She is proficient in sealing technique and possesses a chakra that can suppress the 9 tails. She is good at strength. Although she has a child in her belly, she is not that weak, right? There is the ability to protect yourself. The main reason is that there is no suitable job for me now." Shinzuki also took a chair and sat down and said, "My ability is too conspicuous. A large part of Anbu's work is not suitable for me. Entering Anbu is also named. This is the first time I have performed a mission." At the time, Watergate asked Kyosuke to enter the Anbu, also to frighten the group of Anbu, so that Kakashi would not be so difficult to mix. Who knows that this kid ran into the Longi Cave within a few days, and fortunately, Kakashi is very suitable for Anbu. What mixed in it is like a fish in water, has become the captain of a dark part of the team. Of course, there are also reasons for his promotion. And Shinjia, a person who took a long vacation within a few days of work, even if Watergate wanted to give him a chance, he didn't give Watergate a chance. He could only let him perform the task obediently. He didn't help, and received several months of salary. So let him protect Kushina this time, and Kyosuke will also take over. Advertisement: this is a long-term task, not to say that it can be completed in 10.5 months. This will not be considered complete until Kushina gives birth to the child. Shinzuki knew that this task was not the time when Ju Shinai had a baby, but the time when she gave birth. At the moment when the 9-tailed person Julie gives birth, the seal will loosen, and the suppression of 9-tailed will be minimized, and 9-tailed will easily break the seal. At this time, the soil controlled by Madara is expected to come over. The kaleidoscope of Shishui was taken away by Highway. It must have been used to control the soil, and the soil would definitely take advantage of this God-given opportunity to take the 9 tails. Nothing is simpler than this, the one that takes the 9 tails. Opportunity. Fortunately, there is still a long time. Lin brought the hot tea. Shinzuki took a sip and said, "Lin, how does it feel to be with Sister Kushina?" "It's pretty good." Lin put on her long hair and became more and more goddess. The idiot who brought the dirt would probably drool directly when she saw it. Well, the day Ju Shinai gave birth, let Lin follow. I think the job at Konoha Hospital is pretty good, but it's nice to come out and relax. Lin smiled and sat down. Kyosuke put down her teacup and said, "Oh, that's pretty good, Sister Kushina. Borrow your house. Use it in the backyard. I want to use it for cultivation. You really can't stay free. In this case, don't practice. I'm just bored. You can go shopping with me and Lin." Juxina got up. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Shinsuke's face became stiff, and he went shopping with the girl. Don't kill him. He shook his head desperately, but when he saw the red hair behind Jushinai's head began to flutter. I promised from the heart that I was not afraid of Jushinai, but it was a very bad thing to make pregnant women angry. It is a painful thing to accompany a girl to go shopping, no matter how old the girl is. Jushinai adds Lin, eats, and doesn't say anything. Chinjia has already separated the shadow clone to help move things together. It's troublesome to go shopping with girls, a shadow clone said in a low voice. Yeah, it's better to go back to Longadong to practice. That's it. Kyosuke. Kushina turned her head and smiled and said, go shopping with girls is an essential skill for boys. You can't find a girlfriend like this. I am looking for a girlfriend and I will definitely find a girl who doesn't go shopping. Shinsuke said, how can there be girls who don't go shopping? Your kid is whimsical. Advertisement, I will always meet. Kyosuke smiled. Ah, Kushina, what a coincidence. There was a voice. Kushina turned her head and saw his friend Uchiha Makoto brought her son over. For a while, he was pleasantly surprised and said with a smile, Makoto, it's you. Seeing Makoto's swollen belly, he said, it looks like your child was born earlier than mine. Saying that, Makoto laughed happily. I hope it is a girl, so that Itachi can have a younger sister. No girls will appear when Indra is reincarnated. Means nothing. Itachi answered politely. Aunt Jushinai, hello. Hello, Itachi. I'm only 18 years old. Ha ha. Juxina smiled kindly. It doesn't matter if Itachi calls me sister, right? There is no other meaning, it just means to laugh. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fanfiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. I think it's interesting, tell me what you mean. As long as there is a girl, it will not be entangled for so long. What a polite kid, it would be better to call him a sister. What do you mean? Juxina did not forget to say hello to Itachi who came out with her mother. Kyosuke smiled and said, Sister Kushina, do you think you are old? Makoto. After hearing this, Kyosuke shook his head secretly, not only for Indra, but also for Ashura's reincarnation. Ha ha. Chapter 139. Go shopping. So, Makoto and Itachi joined the shopping team. Makoto and Kushina chatted lively, arm in arm. Lin was able to chat from time to time on the side. Kyosuke and Itachi walked together. It's really miserable for you to go shopping with your mother at such a young age. For Itachi, Kyosuke has nothing but sympathy. Instead, Itachi smiled and said, it's nothing, walking is good for mom, just shopping, it's nothing for ninjas, right? A shadow avatar smiled and said, that's because you haven't seen girls go shopping. Shopping is inscribed in their DNA. You will know when you have a girlfriend. Speaking of it, Itachi, what kind of girl do you like? This question was asked all of a sudden, and he shook his head and said, I don't know. I'll know later. Shinjia laughed. On the contrary, Itachi asked curiously, what kind of girl does Mr. Kyosuke like? Hearing this, Kushina, who was chatting with Makoto and Lin, pricked his ears and asked with a smile. Yes, what kind of girl do you like, Kyosuke? I'm very curious. No, I only see gossip in your eyes. Lin thought for a while and said, it should be a cute girl. I remember that during the Chunin test, Kyosuke offered a date to a girl from Sagakura, but it seemed that it was 10 years later. Why is it 10 years from now? Makoto and Kushina asked puzzledly. Shinjia said triumphantly. In 10 years, girls will have amazing changes, like a plane turning into a mountain. I like mature big sisters. Say it without hesitation. Kushina looked at Shinsuke's gaze deeper and deeper, and said to Lin. Lin, stay away from Shinsuke in the future. Makoto looked at Kyosuke, then at her dazed son, and decided to go home and let Itachi stay away from Kyosuke. Hey, what's the matter with your scumbag eyes? Shinsuke couldn't help but say loudly when he saw Jushinai's eyes. Sure enough, Shinsuke, you must have too much contact with Jiraiya's teacher. Are you affected by him? Shinsuke, after my child is born, you and Jilai should not contact him too much. You will definitely damage my child. Advertisement. Why? I just said the type 1 like. That's it. Why? The shadow avatars started to quarrel. Even if you dislike me, don't compare me with the fellow Jilai. I always felt that I would lose something compared with Jilaya. It still seems a little self-aware. Shinsuke, I didn't expect you to have such sinister intentions not long after graduation. You must be a man like teacher Jilaya when you grow up. No, Watergate should stay away from you. Good guy, am I on the same level as Jiraiya? The three women of Kushina laughed. Only Kyosuke and his shadow clone comforted each other. Itachi blinked at one side, feeling that Mr. Kyosuke looked amazing. Is the date until he is 20 years old? Shinji is very tired now, but there is no way. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Kushina and Makoto talked about the children. Makoto, do you think our children will be together in the future? Who knows? Maybe, but there must be a boy and a girl. Makoto laughed. After all, there is no way to fall in love with different genders. As long as there is love, gender is not a problem. A shadow clone chuckled softly. However, Makoto and Kushina are both masters, how could they not hear? The two of them turned dark, and Kushina turned his head, smiling more and more nuclear, and floated together with his hair, making people scared. Kaisuke, what did you just say? I did not hear clearly, can you say it again? Haha, I'm just kidding, just kidding. Shinjia made a haha and gave Ying Duan a look, and Ying Duan immediately understood, shut up and said nothing. What he said is obviously true. Urzuzi and the prince are gay all day long, making Lord Ying feel like a third party intervened. But if he speaks out now, he will have to be beaten by the blood red pepper and the wife of the patriarch Uchiha. It's not worth it, it won't be worth it. I accompanied the three of them for a long time to stroll around, and there were more things, and 2 more shadow clones. They looked like they liked it, tried it, put it down, gritted their teeth and bought it again, and shuttled back and forth. Kyosuke felt even more tired than practicing. Itachi finally believes Kyosuke's words, girls shopping is really scary. Advertisement, how? Isn't it terrible? Itachi didn't know what to say. Shinzuki just patted him on the shoulder and said, you will have a long life in the future, but not only your mother, but also female classmates, girlfriends, and wives, maybe it's a daughter, hee. This. Itachi, who hasn't opened the writing wheel yet, seems to have seen the future, but he smiled and said, that's not bad, and it's good to be with your family all the time. It's really good. With a sigh, keep up with Ju Shinai and the others. It was solved in a barbecue restaurant at noon. In the afternoon, Juxina was sleepy and went back to rest. Putting big bags and small bags on the table, Kyosuke decided not to appear in front of Kushina in the future. The protection of the Anbu was originally carried out in secret. How can there be any reason to appear in the light? Although boring, this is what the real Anbu ninja should do. Thinking so, Shinzuki said to Lin, I went to the backyard to practice, and I have something to call me. Oh, good. Lin nodded and watched Kyosuke walk into the backyard and sat down cross-legged. There was a fairy face on his face. Soon, the backyard of the Watergate family began to change. A large number of fairy chakras centered on Kyosuke and began to cover the backyard. And Lin was sitting on the sofa, watching the medical skills borrowed from the hospital and studying hard. In the evening, when Pratinam came back, she saw Lin, who was fascinated by reading, and she didn't bother to disturb her. She went into the room. Kushina was still asleep, smiled, and looked out the window. After a moment of stunned, rubbed his eyes to confirm the facts. It was fine when I left in the morning. Did Kyosuke make it? Out of the room, into the backyard, stepped on the ground level with the corridor, but stepped empty. Nani? As a user of Thunder God, Watergate's reflex nerves are extremely developed. He reacted quickly, stood firm, and started to meditate as he watched his submerged feet on the ground. There was mud under his feet, and he could clearly perceive it, but this layer was again. What's the matter? His originally well-decorated backyard has now become a dense forest. The forest is shrouded in fog, and there is no invisible wall behind his house and the street behind the wall. So, where did my backyard go? Chapter 140, Master and Apprentice. Sensing the return of Watergate, Kyosuke opened her eyes, and a pair of golden vertical pupils looked at Watergate. Watergate looked around and asked, Shinjia, is this the magic of Longadong? Yes, a kind of illusion technique. I am still practicing, because it is not threatening, so I started practicing directly in the backyard of Teacher Watergate's home. Kyosuke said softly. It's okay, but this illusion seems to need to be perfected. Although it is very realistic, it still needs to be perfected in terms of details. After all, the surface of the tree is not so smooth. Kyosuke waved his hand, and the forest changed back to the backyard of Watergate's house, exiting the fairy mode, and said, Since you are back at Watergate, I will go back first. There is nothing for me here. Stay for dinner, I'll cook this time. No, forget it, I have something to deal with when I go back, I will come tomorrow morning. When Watergate came back, there was no need for him to stay. His speed was so fast that he didn't need to stay by himself. Okay. Seeing that he couldn't keep it, Watergate had to send Shinjia outside, and Lin followed him away. The two chatted and separated at the fork in the road. Shinzuki did not go home, but went to the research base of Dashimaru, which of course was one of them. I saw Dashiwan, who was dissecting a corpse, and said, Teacher, you recently saw a dragon without seeing the end. It's really hard to find you. Dashimaru carefully used a scalpel to dissect and study the corpse, and said, Is there anything wrong with me? You didn't practice in Longi Cave recently. What's wrong? You have a bottleneck, almost, but I can answer it myself. Teacher, I remember that the human experiment village is explicitly forbidden, right? Shinzuki said while looking at the corpse. Kaisuke-san, you don't seem to be a person who obeys the rules. Dashiwan laughed, rare, meaning unknown. The rules are used to break, but sometimes there is nothing wrong with observing the rules. Teacher, if you continue like this, the village will find that you can't look back. Danzo is not a good thing. As a disciple, Kyosuke decided to give some advice. Advertisement, I know better than you what kind of person Danzo is. If things are revealed, he will not hesitate to separate from me, and even send someone to chase me, but in order to pursue the truth, these are nothing. Shinjia-jun. Dashiwan's eyes showed zeal, no different from a lunatic. This man is out of help. Oshimaru is a crazy seeker who pursues the truth, blindly believes in ninjutsu and power, the original nature of life, in order to achieve personal goals, can abandon and sacrifice the lives of other people, even their own subordinates. His thinking tends to be negative and self-centered, because he is afraid of hurting his companions and does not believe in the power of his companions. Witnessing the death of Tsunade's brother and lover and the life experience of people's disrespect for life during the war, he began to step by step. Going to the darkness, the acting style is getting more and more terrifying and frightening. Many people dare not come into contact with him because his character is cruel and cold, and he is also a combination of rationality and sensibility, but he is a good teacher, and Kyosuke can have today's achievements. In addition to opening up, it is also because of Dashimaru's contribution. He laid a good foundation. Otherwise, it is estimated that Kyosuke is still an ordinary in special forbearance, right? Fighting with a tiger will not end well, Teacher Oshimaru. I don't want to. One day I will hunt you all over the world with a wanted order. Shinzuki shook his head. On the contrary, Oshimaru laughed, pointed to his heart, and said, Kaisuke-san, you don't know. The biggest problem with this person is that you also value feelings as much as Jilai, even more than him. At least he doesn't. We'll go to work hard for a Misty Ninja. You will not kill me, because I am your teacher. Ah, I was seen through. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi, cut. If there is such a day, would you like to leave the village with me? To pursue a stronger future? Dashimaru stretched out his hand, just like he did to Kyosuke back then. This time, Kyosuke just watched and said, Teacher, I won't leave Konoha. After all, I am not suitable for the life of running around. He didn't want to leave Konoha. He had lived for more than 10 years, and he felt emotional no matter what. And following Dashawan, God knows one night when he wakes up from sleep, will he be lying on the operating table. Is that so? It's up to you. Take care of the red beans. Well, you can go back, and you will come less in the future. It is better not to come. Dashiwan turned around and picked up the scalpel again. Then I'm going home. The teacher, don't stay up too late, rest early. Chinjia went out and took the door of the laboratory. The laboratory is extremely quiet, only the breathing of Dashawan and the tearing of the scalpel through the muscles. Advertisement. After returning home, Kiyomizu took a bath, soaked in the hot spring, thinking about Dashawan. During the period, Konoha 12 Xiaoqiang were born one after another, and a new generation of Konoha was emerging. Not long ago, Urzuzi came into the world, and after Itachi had a younger brother, he completely became a younger brother. He wants to keep up with Jushin Na when he is out, and he stays at home on the roof or other places in the backyard, rain or shine. Kushina's belly is also getting bigger and bigger, indicating that the day Naruto's birth is coming day by day. In the remarks just now, I wanted to distinguish between myself and him, so that I would be implicated by him in the future. It's no good to live too long. As time goes by, people's feelings will become weaker, until there is no joy or sadness, and indifferent as ice. Kyosuke does not want such a future, otherwise, he will hug tightly the thigh of Dashawan. Kyosuke was also invited by Uchiha Tomotaki over to eat, causing him to give money to the men. However, the relationship between master and apprentice is so easy to distinguish. After all, it is the master and apprentice. After all, my heart is too soft. He crawled out of the hot spring, wiped off the water drops on his body, and returned to the room to begin to condense chakra. Condensed to the middle of the night, lay down on the bed. Died once, and many things have been seen away. The boring life of a bodyguard began. Early the next morning, after breakfast, I sat in the shade of the backyard of the Watergate house and closed my eyes. Feeling very upset, I suddenly wanted to beat Urzuzi. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. He knows what Dashimaru will do in the future, but it has nothing to do with him. In order to pursue the truth, he will never stop. He will keep moving forward, giving up the body over and over again, replacing it with a new body, and living, until prying into the door of truth. Pursue immortality. He is the one who has taken his life. There is no need to pursue too much. It's not easy to do bodyguards, and it's still a long-term protection. Chapter 141 Preparation before production. Naruto office today, Kyosuke did not protect Kushina, but came to Pratanam's office, where not only the two of them, but also Kakashi and Lin. They gathered here, mainly to discuss the matter of Jushinai's imminent childbirth. Watergate said, when a Renjuli woman is pregnant, the chakra used for the seal will be transferred to the fetus in the abdomen, and the seal of the tail beast will be weakened. On the day of the child, the seal will drop to the weakest. Kyosuke said, so, at this time, Uchiha Madara will definitely take the shot, but the one who replaces him is likely to be Soil. The hearts of the three of Watergate sank, and the one who shot, was it taking Soil? Kakashi said, impossible, I won't do this with Soil. That's right. Although Tai-Tu and Sister Jushin Nai are noisy, but I still care about Sister Jushin Nai in my heart. Lin also said, they don't believe that kind Jushin Nai would do this. Watergate was silent. Shinzuki also knows that the Soil will not do this. At least Lin is not dead, he will not blacken, but the current situation is different, he said. The key is that the Soil is planted by the illusion. What? The three were surprised. An illusion that can control people's hearts. Kyosuke said, Kakashi, do you remember that Shisui's eye was taken away on the battlefield of Mist Hidden? In other words, yes, Jishui's writing wheel eyes have evolved into a kaleidoscope, and it is a kaleidoscope writing wheel eyes with super illusion skills, which can easily change a person's thinking, unknowingly turning a good person into a bad person. Need a look. He continued, on the fog-hidden battlefield, his eyes Uchiha Madara's white subordinate took away. So, I guess, it may be Madara needs Shisui's eyes to control the dirt and make him obedient, puppet. Although I don't know how Madara knew that Shisui had awakened the kaleidoscope, but this time Kushina's production, it is very likely that it will be Soil. The Kakashi trio's mood became heavier. Lin was even more terrified and covered her chest, tears streaming down slowly. At this time, Kakashi suddenly said, Wait, according to you, isn't it enough to let Shisui dissolve the illusion with soil? Advertisement. Well, I think that on the day Kushina gave birth, we were dispatched together, and Shisui was added. Of course, Shisui was from the Uchiha clan and needed to come here secretly so that no one could know. Mizumon breathed a sigh of relief and said, Kayasuka, please go there. In the afternoon, Kushina will be transferred. Although there are 3 generations of adults directly under the Anbi to help, I still have to trouble you. It's nothing, Teacher Watergate, arrange for Lin to go there too, and help Sister Ju Shinai deliver the baby. Yeah. Watergate nodded, clinging to the matter. Now, it is the most important thing for Juxina to give birth to a child. The moment the child is born, I am afraid that it is the most troublesome, and it is not sloppy. What Shinzuki mentioned made Watergate's heart heavy and made him a headache. Tai too is his student, who has the same ideals as him. He suffered misfortune because of the war, but he did not expect to be used by a careerist to become his puppet to retaliate against the village. He was heartbroken and he blamed himself very much. If he went back for a while at that time, wouldn't it be the same as today? Kiyomizu bid farewell and immediately went to the Uchiha clan, and under the watchful eyes of a group of pink eyes, he came to Shisui's house. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Jishui opened the door and looked at Chingjia with both eyes, but if you look closely, his left eye is not the same as his right eye. The left eye has a sense of vicissitudes, like the eyes of an old man. Because Jishui's talent is very strong, it is the future of Uchiha's clan. Uchiha Fuyake is out of the crowd, and transplants a deceased old rider to him, not a kaleidoscope, but it also makes up for the ability of Jishui. Senior. What's the matter? Jishui looked at Chinzuki unexpectedly, not knowing what he was doing to find himself. Chingjia said, stop the water, clean up, secret mission. Jishui's face suddenly became serious, and said, I see, please wait a moment. After a while, Shisui, wearing a saber and a ninja bag, followed him away from the Uchiha clan and went to the Hokage office. After Kyosuke explained that the soil controlled by his eyes would retaliate against Konoha on the day of Madame Naruto's birth, he said seriously, in this case, Lord Naruto, leave this to me, I will use my kaleidoscope to write round eyes to dispel that person's illusion. I beg you. Don't dare. Advertisement Watergate pondered for a while and said, I know, I will take a personal trip on this matter. Lin, you go to Ju Shin-na, and in the afternoon you will accompany Ju Shin-na to transfer together. Kyosuke, Kakashi, Shisui, as for you, come with me. Let's find 3 generations of adults. Tonight will be a tough battle. The soil that has lost one eye from the time of awakening cannot use Susanoo. The main reason is that Susanoo has not awakened. If it is awakened, both eyes must be present. After awakening, it can be released even without the kaleidoscope. With the addition of Jishui, Kyosuke breathed a sigh of relief. Shuiman, himself, and Jishui, together with Kakashi's encounter with the soil, would not be so passive anyhow. Suddenly, he asked, Mr. Watergate, Jiraiya is your lord here? The people who can use the village, there is one more. Kakashi will soon become Konoha minion. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fanfiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. This is the intimacy paradise about to appear? Jishui said. Kaleidoscope writing wheel eyes have a special pupil technique. Everyone's pupil technique is different, but in general it is very difficult to deal with. Moreover, there may even be Susao Nobu. This is one of the strongest methods of the Uchiha clan as an absolute defense. That's also a strength that can be pulled up. You know that Jiraiya is also good at Shanshu. But what if he awakens the kaleidoscope writing wheel eyes? Kyosuke looked at him and said, if he awakens the kaleidoscope writing wheel eyes, he will have the elusive pupil technique. We are not necessarily his opponents. Don't be so serious, Watergate said. Shinzuki said, in order to avoid accidents, it is better to be called 3 generations of adults. The crowd left Hokage's office, and Mizumon went to Sarutobi Hizen. After explaining the seriousness of the matter, Sarutobi Hizen once again put on battle armor and left with Mizumon and the others. Kakashi said, the strength of bringing the soil shouldn't allow the 3 generations to shoot together. If Jilai is not there, forget it. He has a phobia of lack of firepower. If he didn't know that he would not come if he had called Dashawan, he would definitely call Dashawan too. Watergate shook his head regretfully and said, Jilai also said that he was looking for inspiration for his new novel and went out to collect materials. Please call 3 generations of adults. Chapter 142. Tune the tiger away from the mountain. Night inside a secret base near Konoha the Anbi, directly under the 3 generations, guarded the surroundings, and the huge red torii guarded the gate, surrounded by enchantments, preventing a fly from coming in. Among these dark parts, Kakashi, Kyosuke and Shisui are hidden inside, guarding the place. Sarutobi Hazaki hides in the dark, and Mizuno, Lin and Sarutobi Lake Biwa help Kushina deliver the baby together. Jushinai's screams kept coming. Even though they were separated by thick walls, they could still be heard. Mother, it's really not easy. This kind of pain is something men can't bear. There was another scream, followed by the child's clear cry. Gave birth. Naruto was born. At this moment, when a gust of wind blew, Kyosuke frowned and glanced at Kakashi, feeling something was wrong. At this moment, the space in front of them was distorted, and a whirlpool appeared. Then, a teenager who was about the same size as them walked out of it, wearing a mask, showing only one eye, and this eye was a riding wheel. Coming. Are the 3 generations directly under the Anbu? It's just a native chicken. The masked man chuckled lightly, his voice low and magnetic. Kiyomizu narrowed his eyes and gestured to Kakashi to stop the water. On, Shisui, who has the name of Shattering Body, took the lead, drew out the short knife he was wearing, and chopped it down. Ding. The moment the masked man swung his knife, he kicked Shisui's body but it was empty. The next moment, the Anbu came and started to do it one after another. All the attacks were avoided by the masked man. Chingia. Kakashi was about to do it, but was stopped by Chingia, looking over in confusion, and said, Wait, it doesn't feel right. What's wrong? Kakashi puzzled. Advertisement Shisui came to Kiyosuke's side and asked, Do you want to do it now? In his left eye, the riding wheel eye was spinning at high speed, connecting into one piece, forming the shape of a big windmill, ready to do it at any time. No, wait, the other side feels weird to me. I can't tell where I am. Shinzuki shook his head, always feeling that the man with the mask on the other side is not necessarily dirty. What's wrong? Seeing the masked man quickly dodge the attack, he suddenly woke up and said, That's a fake, kill him. Fake. Shinzuki was not talking any more nonsense. It swiftly came to the masked man, drew the dark sword, and slashed fiercely. The huge force suddenly chopped off the masked man's right arm shoulder to shoulder. The masked man screamed, and immediately backed away. A thunderlight appeared in front of his eyes, and the scarlet riding wheel eyes flashed red in the dark. Kakashi arrived. Chidori. In the noisy neighing sound, the masked man's chest was instantly pierced, but strangely, there was no blood flowing out, and then, the masked man changed. The black robe turned into a white body, the black hair turned green, and the mask turned into a white face. This is not the one that day. Something went wrong inside. Chingia suddenly realized the seriousness of the matter, and the next instant, an explosion sounded. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Sarutobi Risen, who was paying attention to the battle, immediately ran down. Kyosuke, Kakashi, and Shisui also rushed up and came to the gate. Sarutobi Risen immediately sealed the seal and lifted the enchantment. Kyosuke hit the stone with a punch. With a bang, the stone blocking the gate was torn apart. The four ran in and found the injured Sarutobi Lake Biwa and Nohara Lin, but Mizumon, Kasina, and the newly born Naruto were not here. Lake Biwa, Lin, Sarutobi and Kakashi helped them up. They were seriously injured. If they are not sent to the hospital in time, they are likely to die. Why would bring soil to Lin? Doesn't this guy love his goddess anymore? Sarutobi Lake Biwa opened his eyes, gasped and said, Ju and Ju Shin Na were taken away. Shinji's heart sank. He wanted to ask, but found that Lake Biwa was in a coma, and Sarutobi Risen immediately sent them to the hospital. How did that person get in? Obviously there's an enchantment. Jishui was puzzled. The space-time ninjutsu that ignores the space is fine. Kyosuke said, Go back to the village and find Teacher Watergate. Next we need to face the Kyuubi who is out of control. As soon as the words came out, everyone was shocked. Sarutobi Hizen asked in a deep voice, Don't be kidding about things like Kyosuke. Once Kyuubi ran out, it was no joke. Advertisement. 3 generations, this thing is definitely not a joke. Kyuubi's seal has reached its weakest point, and Sister Kushina was taken away. I don't need to say more about what will happen. 9 tails run wild and attack Konoha. There is only one possibility. Suddenly a figure appeared. It was Mizuno. He had no time to explain. Grabbed Shisui and Kyosuke left immediately, and Kyosuke grabbed Kakashi. The group disappeared, and when they reappeared, it was on the outskirts of Konoha, on the edge of a lake. A huge fox with 9 tails appeared, and swung its paws at Kushina, who was lying on the rock. Boom! The paw was swung down, the smoke rose, and the Watergate appeared on a tree holding Jushinai. Next to Kyuubi, the masked man sighed. As expected, it is Konoha's yellow flash. The speed is really fast, but it's a pity that I always come one step late every time. Shinzuki and others appeared, looking at the huge monster with hatred and violence all over. Shisui said, Is this the Kyuubi? Roar! There was a deafening roar, and 9 tails' hateful chakra suppressed it overwhelmingly, which made people feel terrified. In its eyes, 3 Guyu jade pieces surround the vertical pupil, and at first glance they are controlled by the riding wheel. Take soil. Your kid is making trouble again. Kiyomizu looked at the soil wearing a tiger skin mask, squeezed his fists, and made a clicking sound. It looks like your kid needs special education. Is it recognized? Taito did not hide it and said, Asakawa Kyosuke, my former best friend, let's start with you. Roar tilde, do you want to deal with me? Shisui. Understood, don't be a god. The water-stopping kaleidoscope immediately revolved. The strongest illusion was released immediately, and a strange chakra enveloped the soil. Just when Kyosuke thought he was about to succeed, Jishui suddenly screamed. Blood was flowing out of his left eye, and said, It is my eye is on him, and it resists my illusion. Dai-Tu stretched out his hand and stroked his left eye, and said, It turns out that this eye belongs to yours. It's very easy to use. I control 9 tails very easily, ha 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 ha. With the eyes of Shishui, he can control the tail beast very easily, and he doesn't need to worry that he will be controlled by a more powerful illusion than himself. Perfect match. Chapter 143. Kyuubi Rebellion, Bring Soil. Kakashi was in a complicated mood. Seeing his former friend become what he is now, he blamed himself, if at that time. Is it bringing soil? Juxina looked weakly at the madly laughing boy, and grief came from it. How could that kind of laughter and kind-hearted boy become like this? Even the favorite Lin didn't hesitate to injure, and almost killed the opponent. Watergate said in a deep voice, New Shinai, don't talk, I will send you away, and I will explain to you the changes in the soil. As he said, he immediately used Fei Lei Shen to send his wife away. This guy is not very clear-headed. Zhishui, has your illusion failed? Yes, but fortunately, it can still be used if it fails. Because the other gods interrupted, the technique no longer needs to be cooled, which is good news instead. Kyosuke said, find a way to buckle his eyes that stop water, and then you can use other gods. Is it because the left eye that brought the soil to the other gods belongs to Shisui, just like he interrupted Kakashi's divine power in the original work, so all the problems can be solved by snapping his Shisui eyes off? As he said, Kyosuke threw out a shuriken and did not hide with the soil. The shuriken passed through his body. Kyosuke smiled and said, sure enough. It seems that the kaleidoscope ability with soil is still supernatural. Tai-Tu said, this kind of feint doesn't look like your style. Kyosuke, are you testing my abilities? You guessed it right. Shinzuki said with a smile, I have already figured out your abilities. He said to Kakashi and Shisui, his ability comes from the kaleidoscope riding round eyes. It is space-time ninjutsu, or an extremely advanced one. At the moment of attack, the attack part of the body is transferred to a different space. Inside, it is similar to my elementalization, but it is estimated to have shortcomings. There must be a certain time limit. Seize the gap in his attack, and he will definitely materialize at that time. In the single-eyed state of Shenwei, the attack will be cracked within 5 minutes without interval, but there is only one person who has seized the time gap, and that is the first rich wife of Naruto Xiaonan who has succeeded. That's 600 billion detonating talisman, 6,000. I sold 60,000 copies of Xingjia and I don't know if I can get them together. Intermittent bombardment is definitely not enough. One is that there are not so many detonating charms. Even if there are, they will affect the village. Many conditions are not sufficient. He did not learn the multiplication detonating charms. No, I'll learn the detonating talisman of the mutual multiplication when I go back. Is there only a gap in the moment of attack? It's a harsh condition. Kakashi took a deep breath and thought it was too difficult. Why would this fool with soil awaken such an advanced pupil technique? Advertisement Shisui also nodded, the speed of this request is very fast, they may not be able to do it. If Kakashi can use a kaleidoscope, it won't be that troublesome. It's a pity that Kakashi hasn't learned how to use the soiled kaleidoscope to ride round eyes. Now it is enough to be able to use the riding round eyes, let alone a kaleidoscope. Otherwise, send him or Jishui into the divine power space, and use the attack to keep the dirt behind and continue to be a carefree fool. It's really you, just use a shuriken to figure out my ability? Taito slapped his palm, and had to admire Chingsuk's strength. This guy will definitely be the biggest stumbling block on his way to complete the plan. By the way, take the soil. Why do you want to retaliate against Konoha? Kyosuke wanted to understand what kind of memory Madara had planted on this guy with other gods. Speaking of this, Tantu said coldly, because you and Kakashi killed Lin. Kyosuke. Kakashi. Shisui. If I remember correctly, Kakashi's teammate, Ms. Lin Nohara just went to the hospital. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Bring the soil. Lin is not dead, just now almost died in your hands. Huh. That's just a fake similar to Lin. On the misty battlefield, I saw you and Kakashi's attack kill Lin. Lin. She was obviously your friend. Why did you kill her? I don't want to stay in this false world anymore. Ah, this. Good guy. Uchiha Madara's old coin actually counted himself up. Is this revenge for taking someone to attack his lair? Take soil. Wake up. Is that Uchiha Madara's illusion? Kakashi reminded. Illusory. No, Kakashi. I am more awake than ever. This false world I am impatient. I want to destroy Konoha. Destroy the mist. Nine Tails. Go. Kill them first. Roar. Nine Tails roared loudly, and a storm rushed toward his face. On Xingjia this is no nonsense, his hands are imprinted, he absorbs natural energy, and enters the fairy mode. Advertisement, Cianfa inorganic reincarnation. A large number of stone thorns rushed up and pressed against Kyuubi's belly, without piercing its belly, but it also allowed it to be pushed out. Kakashi and Shisui rushed towards the earth, their attacks penetrated the body of the earth, he just stood there, no matter how they attacked, they couldn't hurt him. Huh. A figure flew, and it was the Watergate wearing the Hokage Imperial God's robe. When the Watergate came, the soil was finally no longer pretended, and he stepped back and used God's might. The body was sucked into the different space and disappeared. Kyosuke attacked Kyuubi with all his strength. The flames raged on this guy and burned a lot of wounds. It was just that Kyuubi chakra quickly healed those wounds. When Kyuubi was about to attack, he slammed and disappeared. Where is Nine Tails? What about the big nine-tailed one? Not good. The village. Kyosuke immediately understood what the guy Taito wanted to do, and wanted to use Kyuubi to attack the village and realize a Kyuubi rebellion. This guy was brainwashed by other gods by Uchiha Madara, and he was full of hatred for Konoha, vowing to destroy Konoha, so he could give up. He was afraid that there would be a tough battle to be fought tonight. Mizumon came to a few people and said, it's too late to talk nonsense, go quickly and go back to Konoha. After speaking, he took the three of them and disappeared in place. At the same time, Konoha, Roar, the huge behemoth arbitrarily released the craziest animal nature deep in its heart. The tyrannical aura destroyed Konoha. With its claws waving, a house was easily destroyed. Nine-tailed tail swept across and destroyed the surrounding houses, but there was no screaming. Come. The main reason is that in order to avoid casualties, Kyosuke asked Watergate to move a lot of civilians in advance, and the place where Kyuubi descended was exactly where the transferred crowds were. Fortunately in misfortune, the appearance of Kyuubi was a disaster. Fortunately, there were no casualties at first. Konoha's ninja also began to transfer other civilians and lead them to take refuge. Chapter 144. Turned into light, hurry up and transfer the civilians. Konoha's young ninja also moved. This is the order of the 3 generations of adults. Quick. Act fast. The ninjas began to transfer civilians and young ninjas. At the same time, a group of people began to attack Kyuubi, but their attacks were all useless. Kyuubi was like a tickling, and when he reached out his hand, it turned the ninjas like a fly. The same shot and flew out. Boom. It was like they were doing useless work. The attack could not cause damage to Kyuubi at all. Even if it did, the wound would heal in an instant. Roar! Kyuubi roared again, flying a group of ninjas. Ha! Shuiman and his party appeared on the Hokage rock and saw Kyuubi who was madly destroying the village. As if aware of the arrival of the 4 of them, Kyuubi looked over and opened his mouth. The red and blue chakra condensed in his mouth, and a huge tail beast jade appeared and flew towards the water gate. Don't want to succeed. The water gate quickly closed the seal, and just as the tail beast jade was about to hit the Hokage rock, a time and space barrier appeared, and the tail beast jade was moved to other places. The hill far away from Konoha burst open with a bang, and the sudden tail beast jade raised it to the ground. A dark shadow suddenly appeared behind the water gate, and the water gate immediately turned around, and the trident went away without a thorn, penetrating the soiled body, and the attacks of Kyosuke, Kakashi, and Shisui were the same. Taking the soil to seize the opportunity, kicking Kakashi and Shisui away, kicking Kyosuke's body, countless flames flying. Watergate attacked again, but it still didn't work, and the wrist was grabbed instead. Shenwei. The pupil technique was used immediately, trying to absorb the Watergate into the divine power space, but the Watergate moved away when it was about to be transferred. Have you failed? It's a yellow flash. Sir, you are really fast, but why didn't you come in time? He yelled angrily. The reorganized Shinji attacked, jumped away with the soil, and said, I have no time to waste time with you. I am going to solve the 4th generation of Hokage. As he said, his body was imaginary. He went into the Hokage rock and disappeared. Shinji, where's the soil? Running. I guess it's from Mr. Watergate. Give the soil to Mrs. Watergate. Shisui, can your riding wheel eyes control the 9 tails? It is estimated that the soil will not be brought back. It seems to be a long-term plan. The most important thing is to solve the Kyuubi now. Advertisement, I have to try, control the tail beast or something. He has never done such a thing. Well, now, we are the only one who can stop the 9 tails. Kakashi, go and help move the civilians now. Your power is not suitable for use here. I know. Kakashi knew what to do now, and immediately jumped off the Hokage rock. Kyosuke grabbed Shisui and said, it may be a little irritating, don't be too scared. What? Wait, senior. What are you going to do? Shisui screamed, and was thrown out by Shinzuki. Then, Shinzuki also ejected and flew like a cannon. The 2 of them were flying in the air, their bodies falling rapidly. Shadow clone technique. 2 shadow avatars appeared at the feet of Kyosuke and Shisui, and Heian avatars kicked hard against their feet, and the body flew up again, while Shisui was thrown out by the shadow avatars again. The body landed steadily, reaching out to catch the water stop. Senior, next time, please tell me in advance. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Oh, good. Kyosuke laughed and said, I'll control Kyuubi. You can use illusion techniques to release Ododo's control of Kyuubi, but don't use other gods. I know. I'm leaving now. Kyosuke jumped out, came to Sarutobi Hisaki who had just returned, and asked, 3 generations of adults. Do you need help? Aren't you nonsense? Help me hold Kyuubi and buy time? No problem. Fire fist. The entire arm turned into flames, his body swayed back, and a punch was slammed. The flame fist magnified, and with unparalleled heat and power, it blasted into Nine Tails' body, and flew it out abruptly. Good job. Psychic Art Ape Demon King Ape Demon. A white-haired monkey about the same height as Sarutobi Rishi appeared, with a strong body, wearing a fur, wearing a Konoha forehead guard, and a white tail swinging. He looked at Kyuubi and said, the seal of Kyuubi has been broken. Ape Demon, transform yourself. Drive 9 tails out of Konoha. Change. Bang. Advertisement. A sturdy iron rod fell into Sarutobi's hands. Stretch. The King Kong wishful stick stretched out suddenly, hitting Kyuubi's belly, holding Kyuubi, and pushing it out of Konoha. Boom. Konoha's wall was destroyed and Kyosuke rushed out. Sarutobi Hitoshi said, everyone retreat. Leave space for Kyosuke. At this time, only Shinji, who has learned the Dragon Earth Cave Immortal technique, can solve it. Psychic Art. The black snake appeared, and Kiyomizu fell on its head and said, Black snake, tie up the 9 tails and don't let it run out. It's the tail beast again. You guys don't know how to be safe all day long. The black snake twisted his body and quickly came to Kyuubi, whose sturdy body immediately trapped Kyuubi. Roar. 9 tails roared and bit on the black snake's body. The sharp teeth pierced the scales of the black snake and pierced into its flesh and blood. The blood oozes out, the black snake eats pain, and the body shrinks. On one of the paws of 9 tails. The 2 giant beasts fought each other, and the black snake said, the power of the 9 tails is too strong, I can't suppress it for too long. The power of the tail beast is beyond its control, it is too powerful. Enough time, wait for me, gather Shanshu chakra. The body quickly absorbed natural energy, and at the same time, Shishui came and looked at Nine Tails. The powerful illusion invaded Nine Tails' mind, blood flowed out of his eyes again, and with a muffled grunt, the riding wheel eyes in Nine Tails' eyes disappeared. Nine-tailed illusion was cancelled, but Shisui was unable to use illusion to control Nine-tailed. A shadow avatar appeared and took away Shisui. Konoha's ninja, they all die to me. Kyuubi said furiously, the anger he had always vented out. He was treated as a monster by humans, as a tool by Uchiha Madara, suppressed by the first generation of Naruto, and sealed by the strength of the human column. Now it is like this again. Kyuubi has long been furious and hated. Emotions erupted from its body, which was even more terrifying than when it was controlled by soil. Breaking free from the black snake, he stretched out his hand and patted Shinsuke's body. Boom! Kyosuke's body exploded suddenly, and Kyuubi tremblingly looked at his paws. There was a scorched black spot, just after being injured. Countless flames flew up, and finally condensed into a flame giant that was 50 meters up and down, which was equal to the height of the Nine Tails lying on the ground. Come on, Kyuubi, I've become light. Chapter 145, Twogu. Cianfa Fire Giant. The body is elementized, filled with a large number of fairy chakras, and finally this huge flame giant is formed. It is only a preliminary test and cannot be maintained for long, but this is enough. Looking at the giant in front of him about the height of him, Kyuubi roared, opened his mouth, and flew up. After taking a bite, biting his mouth full of flames, enduring the pain, he tore off an arm, and a flame fist struck him, smashing it straight and unmistakably on Kyuubi's body, knocking it back. The fallen arm turned into flames again and flew up, regrouping at the fracture, intact. Shinsuke's laughter came from the flame giant. It's 20,000 years ago just because you want to hurt me. He wiped his nose and controlled the flame giant to rush towards Nine Tails. The two behemoths collided together, erupting a terrible roar. Roar. Nine Tails screamed. The flame giant's attack was not only physical, but also magical damage. The hot flames were constantly burning its body, leaving wounds. The orange-red hair did not know how much it was burned. Human. You are looking for death. Nine-tailed beast jade was about to be condensed when Nine-tailed mouth opened. At this time, the black snake jumped over, and the body directly wrapped around the nine-tailed beast's mouth. The unfinished tail beast jade was shattered, but the black snake was also lifted out by Nine-tailed beast. Boom! With a dull sound, the flame giant ran, punched it, and landed on the face of Nine Tails, making it dizzy, and at the same time, its face was hot and unbearable, which made its temper more and more violent. Ola oiler oiler oiler. The flame giant continued to swing his fists, and the fists fell like meteors. Bang bang bang. Nine-tailed tail lifted up, stopped the attack, and two tails rushed forward flexibly, piercing through the flame giant's body, but as a result, nine-tailed tails were also burned. This works. Sarutobi Richin showed hope, and perhaps this can last until the arrival of Watergate. Come on, Master Kyosuke, get rid of Kyuubi. Come on, Master Kyosuke. Advertisement suddenly, the voice continued. Kyosuke is now like a god, becoming Konoha's savior in times of crisis. However, the face of Shinzuki in the flame giant is ugly, nothing else. This state is too wasteful for chakra, and the natural energy is too late to merge, and in 1 minute, he will be unable to maintain this state. No, it's a quick decision. The flame giant opened his big hand, and a flame spear condensed and appeared. Holding the spear tightly, one blow penetrated the stomach of Nine Tails. Roar. Kyuubi roared loudly, painful, not only the wound, but his internal organs were also being burned by flames. How could it not make him hurt? It broke our hearts. To shut up. Kyosuke condensed a spear again. This time he pierced Kyuubi's shoulder and nailed it to the ground. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi, set. 9 slightly smaller flame spears appeared, pinning Nine Tails of Nine Tails to the ground. After doing all this, the flame giant couldn't hold it anymore, and suddenly broke apart, and Kiyomizu fell on Kyuubi, who was still struggling, trying to break free. Shinsuke's face was pale and said, "Don't think about struggling, Nine Tails. These flame spears can last for 2 minutes. You can't run away within 2 minutes. Damn human. I will definitely not let you go. I will definitely kill you, Asakawa Kyosuke." Kyuubi roared loudly, shouting out Kyosuke's name. Oh, you know, did you know it from Sister Kushina? During the period when Kyuubi was sealed, he had nothing to do anyway, so he could only watch everything he saw all day long, and it was not surprising that he knew his own name. But it doesn't matter. The black snake said at this time. The time is up, I'm leaving first, I'm injured, and I won't be looking for me in a short time. After speaking, the bang disappeared. Advertisement. Suddenly, Kyosuke felt that the nine-tailed chakras at his feet began to riot. It was worthy of being the strongest tail beast that could rival the 5-tailed beasts with half of the chakras. It seemed that his flame spear could not hold back that long. It only takes a few minutes to press it down. In the next second, the surrounding space suddenly changed, and now he himself came into a forest. Watergate's Thunder God. At this moment, a paw was slapped off, slapped Kyosuke's body apart, enduring the pain, and drew the flame spear from his body. No blood came out from the wound. This was also due to the flames of Kyosuke. The wound is scorched and no blood will flow out, but it takes longer to heal. A figure flew over. It was the Watergate wearing the Hokage Imperial God's robe, and he held the weak and dying Miyu Shin-na and the newly born Naruto who was still in the swaddling clothes in his arms. You must open the barrier as soon as possible, Watergate panted. He has been using the Flying Thunder God intensively to transfer the beast of the tailed jade, fight with the soil, and transfer such a behemoth as the Nine Tails, so that his chakra gradually bottomed out. I can hold on for a while, Watergate. Kushina looked at her husband, and a large number of spiked chains rushed out from behind, binding the Nine Tails who were about to riot and forming an unbreakable barrier. King Kong blocked. The secret technique of the Whirlpool clan, both offensive and defensive, can suppress the tail beast. Shinai. Watergate was shocked, looking at his wife. If this goes on, it will only speed up the death of Shinai. Kushina looked at him with a smile, and said, just keep Kyuubi in check. I will go to death too. This will delay the death of Kyuubi. I will try to help you as much as possible. 1. I have always thanked you for everything you have done for me. Pranam, I love you. I really want to see Naruto when I grow up. Wow. Naruto in Watergate's arms cried, and Watergate was in grief. At this time, Kiyosuke's body reorganized and walked silently. Watergate looked at Kiyomizu, and said in a very solemn tone, Kiyosuke, Naruto will ask you for it in the future. Huh? What? Kyosuke was taken aback. Isn't it? The situation shouldn't be so cruel, right? Watergate said. The situation with the soil is not optimistic. I failed to bring him back. He was deeply controlled and could not be awakened at all. I can only push him back. His strength has surpassed the current Kakashi. Close to me, I must stay behind. The abilities shown by the soil made him quite tricky, and he could only retreat, unable to capture him. He said to Kushina, Kushina, you made me the 4th generation of Hokage, your husband, Naruto's child. Sorry, for you, for Naruto, and for the future, I have to do this. I will seal your chakra with a gossip seal so that you can see him in the future. In order to cope with the future, Watergate gave all hope to his son. Chapter 146. Seal the Nine Tails, Kushina, your only remaining chakra. I will use it to show you Naruto, and use your chakras and gossip seals to suppress the Nine Tails, and I will solve the Nine Tails. It's not Ranjuli. I can only use ghouls to seal it all up. But that technique will make the surgeon. I know that Kyuubi cannot be killed, otherwise the balance between the villages will be broken. The tail beast is fighting power against the village level, unless it is a last resort, otherwise, it is absolutely not allowed to let the tail beast appear on the battlefield. Once the tail beast dies, it will be reborn somewhere in the world after a period of time. At that time, the tail beast is a free body and can be captured in any village. If Kyuubi is killed and resurrected, whether it is to avenge humans or capture by other villages, it will not be a good thing for Konoha. Moreover, there is still soil that can control Kyuubi in the dark. I just sealed half of the Nine Tails so that it and me will be sealed permanently. The other half of the Nine Tails will be sealed on our son. Jushinai was shocked, shaking his body. Ranjuli's life is not something a child should bear. The controlled land will surely set off a bloody storm in the future. Just like Teacher Jiraiya predicted, the person who can stop him is our child. He will be a pillar of strength and open up the future. I firmly believe this. He smiled and looked at his wife, and then said to Kyosuke, Naruto will ask you to ask, Kyosuke, this is my last request. Since you have decided, then please rest assured, I won't let this child suffer a little bit of harm. This child is going to be a Hokage at first sight. I will train him to become Hokage. Maybe this is fate. Mizumon and Kushina will die on the day Naruto was born. Kushina grinned reluctantly. I just hope he can grow up safely. A happy life. Shinzuki, trouble you. I took care of him. I'm sorry to trouble you. I'm sorry. Shinzuki, I'm sorry, Naruto. She shed tears, hugged her son, and cried quietly. Watergate immediately seals, Si, Hai, Wei, Mao, Shu, Zi, Yu, Wu, Si, and finally put your hands together. The ghouls are all sealed. An icy chakra appeared in Shinsuke's perception, and he could perceive the coldness behind the Watergate, like a chakra from hell. Trust our child, he is our son. I will use the gossip seal to seal your chakra and Nine Tails into Naruto's body. You can help him when he tries to control Nine Tails. Advertisement, he is our son. Because of this, I don't want him to bear that kind of responsibility. You know, the life of Ranjuli, and you don't need to use the ghoul to seal it all. You obviously can live on. Take care of Naruto. Mizumon was silent, and Kyosuke said softly, because of him, I love you, Sister Kushina. Juxina felt a pain in her heart and started to cry. Watergate said, our family are all ninjas. As a mother, you will teach Naruto many things. This is something I cannot do, not just for you, but also for Naruto. Protecting my son is also my responsibility as a father. Shinji saw that the 3 generations who had rushed over were beating the enchantment, and ran over, leaving room for the husband and wife to bid farewell. He came to the front of the 3 generations across the barrier and said, 3 generations of adults, don't waste your energy. Teacher Watergate has already used the ghoul to seal up, and is ready to sacrifice himself, seal the 9 Tails, and let his son become Ranjuli. What? Why didn't you stop him? Sarutobi was startled. How long has Mizuno been in office? Obviously he was ready to go to death and seal the 9 Tails. Can't stop it. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Kyosuke shook his head, and Kyuubi's voice came from behind. Damn 4th generation Hokage. A large group of chakra broke away from Kyuubi's body and entered Watergate's body. There was a big hole in the clothes on his stomach, and a sealing spell appeared on the stomach of Watergate. It's already started. Kyuubi's body, who had lost half of chakra, also shrank in half. The tight diamond blockade on his body became loose, and the restraint power was weakening. Kushina could not hold it for long. If it weren't for the physique of the Uzumaki clan, Kushina would have died the moment he was drawn out of the Nine Tails. It's really a ghoul, he really used it. Sarutobi Hizen watched. Kyosuke left, came to Mizumon, and said, although give me your back, Mizumon-sensei. Well, please. Watergate summons the altar that seals the Nine Tails. Advertisement, Naruto. I love you too, forgive dad, gossip seal. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Watergate launched the psychic technique and handed the key to the gossip seal to Toad Yin of Miaomu Mountain, so that Naruto could open the seal of Kyuubi in the future. Naruto, be obedient, don't cause trouble to Chingsuk's brother, can't learn bad from him, stay away from the 3 bands of ninjas, beware of teacher Jileia. Kushina smiled and said to his beloved son. You must eat well, don't picky eaters. The fire fist broke out again, knocking back Q-Tail's claws with one blow, and Shinjia said. Hey, don't treat me as heir, I'm also a ninja in fairy mode anyway. Damn, do you want to seal me again? Still such a kid? A ray of light lit up, and the body of Kyuubi who had been fighting with Kyosuke suddenly disappeared and sealed into a small child. Kyuubi raised his claws and stabbed them to kill the young Naruto. Don't think about it, fire fist. Come on then, I am immune to physical damage, what are you going to fight me with? Kyosuke jumped up and kicked Kyuubi's body and said, I can suppress you in all forms, let alone you. Now I only have half the power, although I am not the first generation of Hokage, it is more than enough to hold you down. Cough cough. Jushinai couldn't hold on, coughing, and Watergate's beloved wife relaxed her vigilance. Kyuubi was in pain, and another paw came over. King Kong's blockade was so tight that Kyuubi's movements were forced to stop. Kyosuke's attack struck again, and countless fireballs fell on Kyuubi. She had asked a lot, and there were many things too late to say, but the vitality in her body was fading, and her time was running out. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fanfiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Sorry, Naruto, I really want to watch you grow up, I'm sorry, I love you, Naruto. Wow. Psychic art. It's now, Asakawa Kyosuke, UB********* D. Even if I was sealed by the 4th generation of Naruto with half of my power, it is still possible to kill you who you are now. Chapter 147. After the war, Kyosuke, I'm sorry, I'll cause you trouble in the future, Naruto, I'll leave it to you. Watergate said to Kyosuke while holding his wife. I will, swear by my life. Kyosuke solemnly picked up the child and placed it in Kushina's arms. Before he finished his words, the death god behind him swung his sword, took the soul of Watergate away, swallowed it into his stomach, and sealed it into his body along with the other half of the Nine Tails. Feeling that her husband has lost his life behind him, Kushina hugged Naruto in grief, kissed his small, soft face gently, and said, I'll leave this child to you, Kyosuke, sorry. It's okay, leave it to me. Pradhanam, Jushinai. As Kyuubi was sealed and the barrier had disappeared, Sarutobi Risen ran in with people. Kushina sighed and said, 3 generations, Naruto, this child has been entrusted to Kyosuke by Mizuno. I'm troublesome for you. I see, don't you? Kushina. Sarutobi Hizen was silent. Kushina left the world holding the child. Kyosuke hugged Naruto and said, 3 generations, and the 4th generation has passed away. You need to take charge of the overall situation. I know. He took a deep look at Shinzuki and asked him to collect the bodies of Pradhanam and Kushina. At this time, Shinzuki said, 3 generations of adults, I hope that teacher Pradhanam will be buried normally and destruction is possible, but I don't want to see them in Konoha's intelligence department. The cells of the 1st generation of Naruto can be studied, let alone those of Watergate and Kushina. Even if Sarutobi can't do it, Danzo will. Pradhanam and Jushinai are the heroes of the village. You can rest assured of that. The same goes for the 1st generation of Hokage. Sarutobi hit a stiff body and did not answer. As a result, Kyosuke put the bodies of Mizumon and Kushina away and put them in the scroll. What are you doing? I will hand them over to Master Jiraiya and let him bury them well. You can't believe me? Advertisement? I can't believe in Danzo. Holding Naruto and leaving, Sarutobi Hizen looked at Kyosuke's back, sighed, and said to the people around him. Let's go, there are many things to deal with tonight. Kyosuke returned to Konoha holding Naruto, found Uchiha Tomotaki, and asked, Where's Ms. Makoto? Mr. Kyosuke, what do you want to do with me? Uchiha Makoto, wearing a Uchiha guard uniform, appeared. Tonight is too messy, so she came out to help. Seeing the child, she hesitated and asked, This child is Mr. Watergate and Sister Kushina's children, Naruto, they sacrificed. I want to ask you to take care of him for a while. I really can't take care of such a small child. I still have a lot to do afterwards. Thinking about it, the only person in the village who can take care of Naruto is Makoto who gave birth to Sasuke not long. Let Indra and Asura's reincarnation be together and cultivate relationships from an early age. Kushina. Makoto took Naruto sadly after hearing the news of her friend's death and said, I will take care of him, Naruto. Poor child, over there in the village. I will take care of it, Captain Futaki. Your Uchiha's life will not be easy for some time to come. Be prepared, and I will help. Uchiha Tomotaki was silent for a while and asked, Are you going to take over the 5th generation of Hokage? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The death of the 4 generations in battle is a very important event for Konoha. However, the country cannot be without a king for a day, and Konoha cannot be without Hokage for a day. With Kyosuke's battle exploits, coupled with saving Konoha, I am afraid to become Hokage. It's a certainty. Kyosuke shook his head. No, becoming Hokage is not what I want to do. As long as you maintain Uchiha's chaos, I will help you. Becoming Hokage, his freedom will be hampered, so he doesn't want it. Hokage is a responsibility, and he doesn't want to bear this responsibility. It's best for Uchiha to stop chaos, he is still busy. I know. I don't understand why Kyosuke is unwilling to become Naruto, but Uchiha Tomodachi nodded. Uchiha was struggling with Konoha, walking on thin ice. Now he can only pin his hopes on Kyosuke. Originally, Mizumon made him see hope, and Uchiha's life was easier. Some, who knew that Kyuubi went violently and Mizumon died in battle, making Uchiha's life more difficult. Especially with that order tonight, Uchiha must not approach Kyuubi. Obviously, Uchiha was excluded. Now, perhaps only Kyosuke can break this situation. Naruto has asked you all these few days. Watergate teacher asked him to me, but I really don't have the ability to take care of him now, so I will trouble you. Advertisement. To be honest, let him take care of a newborn child. He really can't do it. It's more difficult than letting him go to the battlefield. Makoto gave birth to 2 children with rich experience, and Sasuke had just given birth and had not been weaned, just fine. It's nothing. Makoto said softly. Uchiha Tomodachi looked at Naruto without knowing what he was thinking, and finally sighed and said, we will take care of him. Shinji nodded, left here, found Kakashi, and said, Mr. Watergate, in order to seal the 9 tails, he died in battle. Kakashi's pupils shrank, and he grabbed Kyosuke's collar, and said loudly, aren't you there? Why did Mr. Watergate die in battle? Obviously you are the strongest among us. Sorry, I don't have the ability to seal the 9 tails. He said, Ms. Mizumon's child is now being placed by the wife of the Uchiha Patriarch. I hope you will protect him. There will be many things to deal with next. I see. Kakashi let go. Sorry, I lost my temper at you. It's okay, let's go, a lot of things will happen tomorrow. With a sigh, the two left. The next day, Konoha's destroyed place was taken away by the ninja, and Konoha also started a reconstruction plan. In the Konoha cemetery, everyone held a memorial service for Mizumon, Kushina, and everyone who died in the Kyuubi rebellion. In the afternoon, the patriarchs of the big ninja tribes in the village gathered together to discuss future affairs. Sarutobi Hazaki, Naruto Kaharu, Mito Menyon, and Shimura Danzo sat in the first place, and Mito Menyon slowly said, even though we have repelled Kyuubi, the price paid is too great. Turning to sleep, Shaochin said, we don't have time to immerse ourselves in grief. We need to find a suitable successor as soon as possible to fill the vacancy of Hokage. Uchiha Tomodachi glanced at Kyosuke, who closed his eyes and was silent. The current patriarch of the Nara clan, Nara Shikuhisa said, in this case, Master Kyosuke is no better fit. After all, he once had the qualification to compete for 4 generations of Hokage. For a while, many eyes were focused on Shinsuke's body. Chapter 148. Hate. Kyosuke opened his eyes without saying a word, turned to sleep, and Shaochin was silent for a while, and said, well, Kyosuke's strength and reputation are indeed okay. Menyon Mito nodded, yes, and he is also a disciple of Oshimaru. Sarutobi Hizen said, Kyosuke, are you willing to become the 5 generations of Hokage? Danzo on one side turned dark, stood up, and said, I don't agree. Asakawa Kyosuke is too young and lacks experience to be a great responsibility. I personally recommend his teacher, Oshimaru. Oshimaru's mind isn't enough to become Hokage, Sarutobi Hizen said, denying Danzo's proposal. He looked at Shinji and said, Shinji, the village is now in crisis and needs your help. Kyosuke smiled, shook his head and said, I will not become Hokage, I told you at the beginning. Let alone 3 generations of you are still there? It doesn't matter if you continue to be Hokage. Then, he said to Danzo, I'm not someone who looks at that position all day long. It's just a name, what's the point? It's the same who holds Konoha, as long as you don't let the wood if something happened to ye, it doesn't matter who is Hokage. Besides, if you are not Hokage for a day, you won't be for the rest of your life. Since you are a step slower, you will be slower for the rest of your life. Tuan Zhang's face was blue, and he said angrily, what are you talking about? I'm doing this for the village's consideration. At the beginning, I suffered from the slow response. If I said it 1 second in advance, then the position of the 3 generations of Hokage is now his own, and Konoha will not have so many troubles, because Sarutobi is indecisive, Konoha can't let him continue in charge. Kyosuke put his elbows on his thighs, palms on his chin, and smiled. Really? Not for selfish desire. For Konoha's consideration. Where were you last night? I. Shut up. Shinzuki yelled, then stood up and pointed to Danzo's nose and cursed. Old, timid, like a mouse, he used shady tricks when he was young. No wonder the 2nd generation adults look down on you. I keep saying that in order to protect Konoha, you actually hide when Konoha is in trouble, wishing Hokage would die, and then you figured out a way to climb up, sitting in a position with a shy old face, feeling like you were so awesome, and humiliating yourself. Danzo's old face was so pale that he was about to explode with anger. He slapped the table and said, damn, don't think that you can do whatever you want by protecting Konoha, and don't put the elders in your eyes. Who gave you the courage to make trouble here? Fart. You are still an elder, you were born later than you. If you were with me at the same time, I can beat you to death. Shinji didn't give the old man any face, he now has enough strength and reputation. Sarufei Rijon didn't dare to offend him too much, so he relied on a Danzo. Hey. Advertisement, Danzo. Kyosuke, don't bother you too. At this time, Sarutobi Hizen spoke and told them to stop, and said, Since Kyosuke recommends me as an old guy, I will take the place for the time being. When there is a suitable candidate, I will abdicate and let him be virtuous. Mito Minion smiled and said, if it were you, then there would be no problem. Turning to bed, Xiaochen also nodded, indeed, you can. Sarutobi Hizen looked at Kiyomizu and said, I know that you have a good relationship with the fourth generation, but Danzo is also saving strength for the village. He is the elder of Konoha, how can you disrespect him? Kyosuke raised his eyebrows and looked at Sarutobi Hizen. He just watched, did not speak, and the atmosphere suddenly became embarrassed. At this time, Naralukuji came out and said, Mr. Kyosuke, please sit down. This occasion it's a bit unsuitable. Arrogant kid. Danzo's only eyes showed murderous intent. All the first-class ninjas in the audience felt it all. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The temperature in the conference room rose suddenly, and the large Shu Dao Dingza fanned the wind with his big fan and said, it's so hot, I really want to have a cold drink. Except for him, there was no sound. Danzo looked at Shinzuki and said, what do you want? Don't forget, where's this place? Humph. The atmosphere was tense, and when she turned to bed, Xiaochen coughed, and said, the next question is the strength of the human column. Danzing said coldly, human Julie is an important strategic resource for the village. It is better to hand it over to the village. I don't worry about it when it is handed over to a Maodo boy. Sarutobi Hijan coughed, which is not easy to cause trouble. After all, he went to fight Danzo under his own banner. Then, this child's last name, this is natural. Advertisement, but we still have to maintain order. Kayasuka, this is your fault. Danzo and I are comrades in arms. Even if it is your teacher, Dashimaru, I have to call Master Uncle. I am used to calling it this way, and it's nothing. B asterisk 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 D thing. I must kill you. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Danzo suffered a slight injury. Just now, this kid attacked from his blind spot and didn't see it at all. Being attacked by this kid made him very uncomfortable. I can control 9 tails as fast as I can, and it's okay to kill them, but who can do it? Looking at Danzo who got up, he sneered disdainfully. Everyone heard the sound of the wall being broken, and at the position of Danzo, Shinzuki stood on it, put a foot away, and said, UI, 3 generations are back in power. Can you call your name directly? Call Lord Naruto? Although Naruto's surname Uzumaki is also good, but Kyosuke still let Naruto and Mizumon live as the sons of heroes out of various considerations, not the monster fox that everyone hates. Rizan, you should know what Renjuli means to the village. He is young now and has no ability to distinguish right from wrong. If he is induced by someone with misconceptions, it will definitely be a disaster for the village. Do you understand? Raised by the village, people are powerful. Of course the child has his father's last name. Considering various factors, plus the last wish of the 4 generations, Naruto will ask you to raise him up, Shinzuki, and remember to send him to the ninja school in the future, Sarutobi Hizen said. Turning to bed, Kaharu and Mito Minion don't know what to say. They all saw the scene where Kyosuke suppressed Kyuubi last night. There are few Konoha that can compare with their fighting power. Past Shinjia. Sarutobi Hizen said. Mizuna and Kasina asked Naruto to kill me before they died. I think I respect their wishes. Kill me? Shinzuki digs out his ears, carelessly. You can try that if you have the ability, right? People who want to kill me can be discharged from the country of fire to the country of water. There is no shortage of you. The surname is Maelstrom. That is Renjuli, the weapon of the village. The surname is Bofeng, the son of 4 generations of Hokage, the son of heroes. With all due respect, if the tail beast runs away, who can suppress it? Boom.